Alright, cool. So this is our video from our first weekend kills, but a lot of it is the same strats and stuff, and we'll just kind of talk through everything, especially for like Prog tomorrow on what we're going to do. Make sure we're all on the same page. Everyone needs to make sure, especially our Prog people, that you go into your split and double check your assignments. Make sure you know where you're going, when you're going there, what you're doing, etc. Make sure you know your cooldowns, stuff like that. Make sure you know your Morchok team. We like changed them around a little bit. And specifically for split 1, we have these flattened. So you know how normally when we move around the roster, it like moves everyone around. We have this like no smart coding in here at all. We're just typing in your names. So this is where you'll be. And if you have any issues with any of these assignments, let us know so we can change it before tomorrow. So let's start with Morchok. Pretty easy fight, but we don't want to underestimate it. I'm pretty sure we decided that we're going to lust on the 20% just to be super safe. Obviously, lusting on pull is a lot more DPS, but we're just worried about not wiping to something dumb and being able to kill the boss super easily. It's really important on this first stomp, if you're on the left team, that you don't get hit by the right team stomp at first. So make sure that does not happen. We're going to pull to our sides. Crystal people, make sure you you don't actually have to get to this crystal super early if we can, like if there's a stomp going out. It's actually better to like stand still and be grouped up. But just really important, everyone should really try to be grouped up as much as possible on this fight for the AoE healing. It really helps the healers out. Melee, I try to pull the boss pretty close to the crystal. If you can, try to be on the side with the ranged. Like if there's like a healing rain here or like a barrier, AMZ, stuff like that. It just really helps just do more AoE healing as much as we can. Tanks and tank soakers, you guys know what you're doing, but it's really important to try to rotate RCDs correctly so that we have a cooldown up for every stomp. It really helps. It's not, he doesn't have it on here, but on current Foji, it shows like Morchok stomp timers and Cockrum stomp timers. So you should know when your stomps are coming and when you need to hit your cooldowns. We'll be doing the same thing. We'll just be running towards each other on here. Keep hitting the boss. Looking at the assignments here, like these second stomps, it's really good. Just make sure you throw down the cooldown before the stomp happens, because we're using it for the stomp. So the spirit links and the barriers. I guess the trunks you can, use it to recover. But in general, it's just really important to hit those cooldowns, make sure we're topping off the range.
Also, make sure the melee soakers are topped off before the stomp, or they will possibly die.
Yeah, I'd also say a note specifically to the HVALs, but all the healers. These stomps are a little deceptive. The whole raid gets chunked down, which is scary. But more importantly, the tank at the same time after the stomp takes 100% increased physical damage and really can get chunked hard, like very often. And the raid won't be taking damage for a little bit, so you have time to top them off. So here I just died. So you can see how quickly I die if I'm not topped. So I got chunked to half, and healers are like moving and healing the raid, which it seems necessary to do, but really you should plant here and try to make sure I get topped, and then move to the crystal after. But I also maybe didn't have a cooldown or whatever. These are our early kills, so we'll really try to make sure we have a cooldown up for each of them.
Did we switch from melee soaking any of the crystals at all, pretty much?
There should be no melee soaking any crystals. Is it on the sheet like that?
No, I'm just asking.
Okay. Yeah, in general, melee
Are
shouldn't
we
be
trying to
soaking
move the
any crystals
bosses
ever.
less, or what?
No, I want to move the bosses to the area just to help with AoE healing.
Well, the only reason I'm asking is because moving to crystals sucks for Boomkin specifically, because I have to move all the time. And it kills. And I've never done it, and I was double dotting the bosses, so I don't know.
Let me see here.
I mean, it's fine. It's just my PTR DPS is going to be a lot less than what it
That's
was.
fine. I'll switch it to Vela.
Also,
fine.
one thing about the Kogrom thing for Shaman, a lot of the time, like we were calling for approximately the second stomp. That seems to be the case for Morchok, that will always line up with the stomp and other like explosion damage happening at the same time, which is the cooldown is really good for. But with Kokram, it doesn't seem to line up on the second stomp. It just kind of seems to be random.
I think the
Because those
crystal
timing
damage
timers are
is
offset.
really minor, and we mostly just want the cooldown for the stomp.
Yeah, it's the stomp plus the crystal that you have to cool down or you die. And so a lot of the times then when I was doing it on PTR, I was just saving my SLT for an instance where a stomp and a crystal explosion would line up.
Do you know which stomp it was?
No, it changes every time because the timers are offset with Kokram. Sometimes he just doesn't spawn a crystal for like an eternity.
They actually changed that on the last PTR. I don't know if you were here, but you guys got the same amount of crystals as we did on the last one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it because they're still offset by 45 seconds on the split, no?
I can show you the log, but we looked at it pretty in depth.
Okay.
Like we got 3 crystals and they got 3 crystals type thing. The timings might still be different, yeah. Pretty much from what I know, Morchok always does his ability, and then like 5 seconds later, the other guy does his ability.
Okay. But either way, is it okay if I still save the SLT for that circumstance where the damage actually overlaps, or do you want me to just send out the second stomp regardless of
I
context?
think you should just send it, to be honest.
Okay.
It'll still help us with the stomp and help us recover. It kind of like, as long as you use it and like you're healthier for the next one, let's say where the overlap does happen, like it should be fine. Okay, yeah, I mean this fight is not complicated, but it can very easily kill people, the stomps, and kill our tanks specifically. So like I said, HPELs and healers in general try to like be ready to plant and heal the tanks when the stomp goes off. And we will try to make sure we are using our cooldowns correctly.
And you say less 20%. Is that variable based on if we get a phase 2, like the black ooze shit coming out? Are we gonna lust
I think
during
even if
that,
we're out,
or-
I think we just send less than 20%. And like we have a very mostly ranged roster. So
Well, yeah, I was saying I think it's almost better if we lust during that.
right, yeah.
More
Yeah.
damage, yeah. Okay.
So I mean we'll just plan to lust at 20%. Wherever it lines up. It's gonna be kinda hard to tell. We just have a lot of different DPS and LFR items and different rosters and comps, so it's hard to know exactly where we'll line up, but we'll just lust at 20% whether we're in or out. Maybe if like we're about to transition, we'll like wait till we get all the way out and then lust. That way we're not moving. But other than that, yeah. Okay, your Saj. We got pretty consistent at this fight as we did it more. As always, it's very important to make sure when we're stacking up that we stack directly under the boss, like inside the boss's hitbox. Healers have even more AoE healing now with the LFR mace, so it'll be very important for everyone to be stacked up for healing in general this entire raid, as much as we can. We'll be calling out which colors we're killing, like normal. APOC and Shifter in Split 1 is in charge of killing the Monovoids if they're up. If they're not up, I think you guys should just come and kill the slime with us. We're not really worried about boss damage. Yeah, let's just make sure it's super clean. Like, this will probably honestly die early, but I'd much rather it die early than late, you know what I mean? We have our combinations. This should be correct, and I have it in my weak aura correctly. So we're pretty much always killing green or yellow. When we pull the boss, we'll try to make sure we're between green and yellow when we pull. Tetsuya?
I was gonna say a lot of the PTR I was on the boss on my DK, so I could probably switch if you still want to keep APOC doing his thing.
I want you guys all to come and hit the slime. I think it's just better and safer.
Okay. I was usually just running out when I got to the mid, but yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, just come
Definitely
kill it.
safer.
Yep. We're just gonna play super safe. We don't want to be wiping on these super easy bosses that we know we have and
Yeah.
know we can kill.
Yep.
like probably as early as like the second week, we're just gonna be like, yeah, melee, you can stay on the boss, it's fine. But
Yep.
until we get to that point, let's just focus on super clean kills.
That works.
Kind of same thing for the very end. We're not gonna call to like Zerg boss unless the boss is at 10%, which is even lower than we did for PTR. Again, just for super safety. There's no reason not to come out and kill the slime easily and then go back in. What we're doing, Tamal, are you here?
I think you just want AFK the bio.
No, I'm here. What's up?
What we're doing for Mage's Combust, we were just kind of like sending it on pull and then just sending it anytime we get a good ignite on blackheads.
You kind of just send it on cooldown, to be honest. There's
Yeah.
no reason. Since we're not doing the one that we were before, like in second black and yellow, right? It's fine.
I mean, it's possible we get a second black and yellow. Sorry.
No, I mean I think we were doing 2 black and yellows, right, or something.
You
We
might be right.
changed
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
it was fine.
You're right. You're right.
We started killing.
There's
we
only one
started leaving the
combination
purple up.
where we get black and yellow. If we
Yeah.
do get that combination, though, really try to make sure you guys use all your AoE, specifically on like the second set of black ads that come out. It'll happen like while we're running out to the next slime. Healers, we have group assignments here. We're mostly doing this. H-Pals, you guys are mostly just beaconing the tank, healing the pets. And yeah, we're just kind of calling out healing cooldowns as we need them. For the monovoids, we'll do the same thing we were doing on PTR. I grip first, and then Tootsie, and then Remor, right? I think that was the order.
Yep, pretty much.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So always let me grip first.
One thing with the mana void on this configuration is you have to be close to it. So you saw I booted in to be close when it popped. I think.
Yeah, I believe it's 30 yards, right?
I think it's
I think it's 25.
25
I think it's
yards.
25.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, if we
Um,
do get that awkward configuration where we have to spread and we want to kill that monovoid, just try to like go around, get in range of the monovoid, and we'll try to grip it towards the middle too.
Just
What's
watch
the,
the
spread
watch the
range?
green timer because you don't want to be close to it when the green lands. So like I saw Rise didn't get mana there, but everybody else did. So just watch
18
it.
yards exactly.
Yeah. So when we're spread, you only have to be 4 yards spread from each other. And then yeah, if we're like killing the monovoid, you can try to like scooch closer between the green ticks. I think on this early version of Fuji we didn't have the green tick timer, but we do, I believe, now.
A lot of people are going to be spoiled by H++ and getting the mana void from Uganda. Here it's 18 yards on this boss.
18 yards, you think?
Yeah, it's 18 yards in the dungeon journal.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just pretty narrow.
Yeah. So yeah, try to get close to it, and we'll try to, like I said, we'll try to grip it to the middle. So. Anything else for your Saj? Anyone have any questions, comments?
I was just gonna say for the first instance of Cobalt, Jordy's been doing the mana hymn, and since we've had plural shamans, Leshev, if you want to take the first mana tide with that combination to give us enough to limp us through the rest of that blue, and then if there's a back-to-back subsequent blue, I'll use my mana tide on that one. But other than that, we'll have the rolling orb to take care of them. We can just strip it whenever.
Yeah, that sounds good. So the first time we get Mana Sucked, Jordy and Leshevra will use their mana cooldowns, and then Corbin will save if we get like a bad overlap.
Yeah, it's literally only if there's a back-to-back blue, and if there isn't, I'll just send it after like at normal cadence to just keep it on cooldown.
Yep.
By the way, we talked
good.
about this the other day. We're only committing if boss is sub 10% and fresh
Yeah.
ads are spawning.
I told them.
Not above that. Okay. Yeah.
Yep, 10% is our number. Even if it's at 12% and it seems like we can kill it super easily, we're just gonna go out and kill the slime. There's almost no downside to doing it. It just makes it nice and safe and easy. Get us to the next boss.
I prefer nice, safe, and hard actually.
Big. Okay.
What were the mobs that you said Shifter and APOC were killing?
Yeah,
whatever was
so
spawning?
when blue reaches the boss, as you guys have been seeing on H+ Dungeon, this is upon a monovoid. And pretty much when we run out to go kill a slime, Instead, we assign like 1 to 2 people to just DPS the Mono Void and get it to like 20%. And that way, when the next Mono Void spawns, we grip it in and we kill it. And it's really important, by the way, when we grip it in to kill it, like all melee hunters, anyone that can easily hit the Mono Void when we grip it in, switch to it and help kill it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
Or are you playing combat? Oh, because of rupture.
Question for this boss. Do you guys have like a list of like known healing related spells that won't cause a stack? Like I can
Yeah.
divine storm as red. Like
Yep, you're fine.
You can do
also
everything
Word
as
of
ret.
Glory. You just can't flash.
Yeah, you can even Word of Glories, right? Like,
And land
yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
But
Cool,
yeah, we
yeah.
have a sheet somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I kind of sussed it out during PTR, but that was more just for anybody else who hasn't actually gone to the fight and done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was posted in our discussion somewhere. There's definitely, or Jordy's video has it, I think.
The
Up
WoW
in-
head comment seemed pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think it's in the description of the boss guide. Let me find out.
If someone could just find it again and link it in raid discussion, that would help. Okay. Anyone else? Last questions for your Saj? Okay, we are moving on. Warlords on us. This is a pretty big one. We need to make sure we're doing this fight correctly, especially our mages. I think almost all of them got pretty good amount of practice on PTR, so we just have to do what we did there. Remember to give the ball an extra second or two before you hit it.
I never did the ball, but I just healed this fight. How do I do the ball?
Hmm.
Do I just?
We have you on the sheet.
I
Yeah.
can show you a video of it later.
Okay. It's fine.
It's really easy.
You just hit it and then ice block, right?
Mm,
But you have to hit it at a certain
preferably not.
time. I'm assuming.
Wait, we have enough mages, right?
Ifri. Ifri.
Ifri. Okay, I'm switching Ifri for imposter. Don't worry about it, imposter.
Oh yeah, I'll just pump.
I just posted all
In fact, he already forgot.
things.
You can take my spot.
Yeah, the general.
No.
Angle, the angle at which you hit it matters, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I originally thought
Kind
it
of.
did for a long time, and then I saw a bunch of videos of like people just like bootsing into it from behind it, and it just went back to the raid. So I'm less sure now. But just in case, just hit it at the correct angle. I mean, it doesn't hurt. This picture isn't super great. I might try to remake it before tomorrow, but it shows the general purpose, and again, most people in our prog and people that did PTR know what we're doing. The most important part for this phase 2 is you're at your assigned spots ahead of time, and you hit your correct targets right away. And you don't switch back to the boss until all of the ads are dead. But let's watch the VOD real quick, and we'll go through it. So phase 1's going to start. Let me rewind a little bit. Phase 1 will start. We'll face it towards the raid. He'll spawn the ball. We'll flip the boss around. All raid people except the few mages are going to be stacked here tight.
You gotta
Mages.
turn on What Is Love for this dancing.
Mages are in the back bouncing the orb, and you just
Okay,
give it
kick this guy.
an extra second to make sure that the ball doesn't get to us too soon. In general, when you get the debuff, you just stay in and heal through it, but healers or whatever, if you want, you can go out and dispel it on yourself just to reduce the amount of healing needed.
I think the silent dancing is better.
The tank CDs here are extremely important. And it's also worth noting for anyone that doesn't know, so there's two different stacking mechanics going on. So there's this hit count up here. So anytime we bounce the ball back and forth, the boss takes more damage. The boss will take more damage after we put the ball into him. And then also, the ball hits harder every time it bounces. In addition to that, there's a separate mechanic going on. This stack here on the boss's raid unit frame. So right now it's at 7. It's a little hard to see, but this is what makes the boss hit harder, and it's just based on time in this phase, so it doesn't have anything to do with the ball. So healers, we're looking at this number to use cooldowns on and on our sheet. It's really important. So when the boss gets to 5 stacks, I'm calling for a sack. When the boss gets 6 stacks, I'm using Vamp Blood. 7 stacks, Blake is sacking, and then 8 stacks, IBF. We had a lot of tank deaths in this phase here when he got higher stacks. So we really need to make sure we're using our tank cooldowns correctly and not dying.
Good question, Moon. Will you be wearing T13 for this fight or T12? Will you have rate cooldown or no?
I think the T12 is still worth it.
Yeah, I think because of the tank damage, you should probably go just max personal
Oh no, wait.
survivability here.
Oh, actually, sorry. I meant to say I think the T13 is still worth it, but
I'm not sure I do agree.
I agree.
But
It's worth it.
okay.
I think the rate CD will help in a lot in the second phase.
I'm less worried about second phase.
How
I
much do
think.
you actually lose?
With the healing maces, I think it's a lot
Drop
safer with the
survival.
healing maces, and the second transition phase will be covered with my thing, and we're only gonna have the 2
The
transitions,
healing
right?
maces are, well,
They're pretty good, right?
yeah, but you have to be
For the really
stacked
stacked
for it
healing
to
like
get
that. But we are
super
stacked, aren't we?
The ranged are, the melee are kind of running around everywhere, but
the melee aren't typically the ones getting killed. But okay.
they were sometimes. I don't know. We can talk about it more and decide. But
like if you can pop it like here, like so that with the first 10 seconds of phase 2 we have it, it will be invincible. It'll be crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to talk to you about that, Fluffy. I think as soon as we say like let in, like you have to go bear form and like start letting
It's
your
100-yard
cooldown.
range.
Well,
So
no,
yeah, I know. I think before you say let, just on second
Yeah.
to last bounce, I'll go bear form and
Yeah, I
let
think you
it
have to go
go.
bear form early. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just hit that shit as soon as the phase starts. Anyway, regardless. So after we do our bounces, we're gonna say let in, and everyone needs to start going to their spots right away. It's really important you are at your spots when this phase starts. Healers though, if you can, I'm still gonna be taking a lot of damage here. Hopefully I, use my cooldowns correctly so you can see I still have 9 seconds of IBF, which is just about right for when the ball comes in. I still have it. But I just might need some direct heals like as we're running to our spots, which I know can be rough, but not the greatest point of view from this video, but everyone should be in their spots hitting your ads. So everyone is assigned to flails. Every single person in the raid DPS is assigned to flails. Don't be like, oh yeah, they're killing that flail pretty fast. I'm gonna attack the eyeball. We want every single person to cast like at least twice on these flails and help kill them. So make sure you guys know which flail you're on and where your starting position is. So melee are starting directly on top of your flails on X and star on the picture. Ranged, we're starting on the triangle, and you're just shooting at diamond and circle. The faster those flails die, and the faster we go from like the 12 stacks to 4 stacks or whatever it is, we start taking way less damage. And then ranged are going to be listening to Tamal or the range leader and moving together as a group over here on this triangle in the distance. Melee, you guys are trying to move together best you can and killing the eyeballs. After all the eyeballs are dead, melee, you kill this claw on the way back to the boss. Once we get back to the boss, it's important to everyone group up and stack back in for healing. I'm going to turn the boss away from like sideways to make sure I don't frontal anyone. So you guys always come in through this way and get back behind the boss. And then we're back in phase 1. We have to do this down phase one more time for our prog strat. We do one less mage bounce here, so Vela, you don't do a second set, right? That's how we're doing it, Tamal?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Vela, you don't bounce on the second one. We just do Agora, Ifrit, Zedos, and then Tamal. And same cadence on the bounces, you just like let it go for 1 or 2 seconds, and then you hit it. Ramor and Tootsie, you guys know what you're doing with the AMZs.
Yeah.
Let in, let in, let in. Ball comes in. Everyone go to your spots right away. And we go again.
You need to step away for a quick second. Be right back.
That's fine.
I'll miss you.
So it's really important just everyone knows the cadence and the rotations for this phase. And it's really important to use any defensive cooldowns you have during these phases. With our new strat, after we kill the second set of down phase, we're grouping up, we're hitting the boss, and then pretty much we're gonna phase them into phase 2 and lust and kill the boss in phase 2. When did we say we wanted to lust again? Do you remember, Tamal? Was it like the 3rd bounce or something?
3rd or 4th, yeah. Either one is fun. Probably 4th if we can.
We should, in theory, have more damage on live than PTR. So it shouldn't be an issue to make sure we get the check. Anyone have any questions about Zonaz, about the assignments for Zonaz? Anything like that? Blake, I don't have your AMs. Were you going just directly after Vera each time?
So I was going first and he was going second. I was going first P2. Or vice versa, doesn't matter. But yeah, just the second the damage starts on phase 2, I was hitting it. Obviously only like half the room's gonna get it.
Perfect.
I'm way over it. Africa.
Sounds good, sounds good. Um,
Are you assigning? I've normally been popping frenzied on the second tentacle phase. Do you need it at a specific time or?
I don't know, first or second tentacle. I think first tentacle phase is good because then you might have it up at the end. Unless do you think we just have like more healing cooldowns on the first one?
No, that's fine. We can do it that way.
Any split H pals that didn't get any PTR practice there. In phase 2, if you're the guy going running back to heal Moon or Fluffy or their equivalent, just like the second you see their HP bar start moving, once the shields run out, you need to haul ass over there and start bombing them with heals because they will get rocked.
Yeah.
Very
So I
quick.
have the like phase 2 tank healing. So like Jordy is helping the melee out, but he's watching Fluffy, and Blake is helping the ranged out, but he's helping me. As soon as you feel like the raid is good and you can break off, you break off and you go heal your tank. Also, in that very last part, the tanks have to go to their claw tentacles. Blake, you can watch me in that phase, and we'll have Vera beacon Fluffy.
Yeah.
Fluffy, if you remember on the very last phase to like call out like Vera beacon me.
Sure.
I'm gonna pull up a Warcraft log replay of our last kill.
If you have a range interrupt on Zonaz, every time the tentacle bends over, you should interrupt it. There's no cast bar, but the interrupt works. It's a lot of damage.
What's going on back here? Oh, I got 2 mages back here. Oh, I see. The ball is getting hit here. Sorry. The ball's getting hit here. So it looks like the mages that are on standby are like standing off to the side here, which is good. And then like as soon as Agora gets hit by it, he blinks into the group. And then whoever is second probably heads over.
For people that didn't play mage on PTR, it's really important that you either call for a dispel before you you're out of the group. You call for a dispel before you do the ball, or you have to have ice block, or you could die before you need to hit the ball, and you could hit it. It could hit a wall, or
Yeah, you pretty
die
much
or
can't.
If
You
whatever.
can't
Prog
soak the ball
cauterized
with the
before it,
debuff.
we're fucked.
Yeah. So just be cognizant of that.
So you'll
Yeah.
just run out, hit ice block, cancel, and
Oh,
then
you
and then
don't-
bounce.
And then get the bounce. Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on when the debuff comes out in
Yeah.
relation to where when you need to
Like,
soak the ball.
it's
If
very
you
dependent.
can, you should try to keep the debuff on you while you soak, and then you block the cauterize and the debuff. That is like the safest thing to do. But yeah, it all depends on where the ball is when the debuffs go out.
So here's the start of phase 2. So it's really important everyone's in position when this phase starts, and you'll see like how fast our health starts going down. But the entire range stack should be stacked up really tight on the triangle marker, and you're shooting the flails at circle and at diamond. Melee, you guys are pretty much standing on top of your flails to start here at star and X. And you should really like as soon as you start hitting the flails, you should pop your big defensive like shield walls, bark skins, anything you got to help yourself survive. Rogue should faint, etc. DK should like AMS and IBF.
Yeah, the damage at the start of the phase is much higher than the damage at the end of the phase. So try to have your CDs up at the start. It's when it's the most dangerous.
So the melee like zug together and kill the ads. The range, you want to stand still and kill everything in range of you before you move. So we start on this triangle, we kill the 2 flails, and then there's 2 eyeballs in range of us. So we always want to kill this eyeball first. So we should be shooting this one. This one dies, we start shooting this one, we're still not moving. Once this gets to like 20% or whatever, we can start moving, and we want to move as a group. We end up over here in range of these 2 eyeballs. You start shooting this eyeball. And then you shoot this eyeball. And then you switch back to the boss. And melee are finishing the last eyeball, finishing this claw over here, and then coming back to the boss. Another phase 1 real quick. We go back to our spots. We do our rotation again. And then at this point, we're just on boss. And then we pretty much call for this last one. It's really important you guys still get out away from the ball so that the ball can go to the boss. The ball hits the boss, and then we go back into the middle. And we stack up, we kill the boss here with Lust. And this one, again, we'll use, like all our healing cooldowns should be back up from the first, like, down phase. We'll be calling him out. And then he'll run over to the tank at some point. And we just keep hitting boss. If we have enough DPS, he'll just like die in the middle. We won't even have to run over. Anyone have any questions for Xanos? Okay, let's move on. Hagar is like by far one of the easiest bosses in here, but we still have to do it correctly. We also made a very slight adjustment from our PTR strat for lightning phase. I'll show you in a sec. At the start of this phase, we want the range DPS to go to like your assigned side. So we have these assignments here. So your range DPS like start on your like assigned side, so that way we have people on each side to like help soak these icicles. He does focused assault on the tank. We'll try to have like a tank cooldown or big heals up for each of them. Oh, did Cold Phase first here? That's weird. So Cold Phase, the plan is to have all of our ranged DPS. We're all going to come over to Star at the beginning. Did we end up using Star? I think we swapped it. Sorry. No, it was Star. So we're all going to go over to Star, and all the ranged and melee DPS will all be together on one crystal. We'll kill that crystal. Once that crystal is dead, the entire ranged group is going to the direct middle of the boss here, where Hagara is standing. It's really important you guys are stacked up tight here in the middle of the boss, and the healers will use their healing cooldowns and healing throughput to keep the ranged alive, while you guys just shoot the 3 remaining crystals. Melee, once we kill Star, we start running in a clockwise. Don't be like Jordy. So these big ice walls are the main thing we're dodging here. So melee will just run clockwise and go to the next crystal. Let me think. Which ones were you having ranged hit, Tamal? Were you having them hit the far one, like square?
So, yes, you hit square and what is that, diamond? And then you kind of just, yeah, I'll be calling it, but it's basically just trying to keep them all even, depending on where the melee are at.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, melee will pretty much be running on the outside, and then the range will just be stacking in the middle, hitting these crystals. Melee, you really don't take any damage on the outside as long as you don't get hit by the ice wall or these big circles. And we need to make sure we have good dispels. Jordy, I think you're going to be the main dispeller here, and then Rise, you're going to help out if like the melee needs dispels. Okay.
Yep.
But this phase is mostly just a matter of keeping the ranged alive with our healing cooldowns here in the middle. In this VOD, we're not doing it correctly, but I can show you the VOD after. Okay, so once we get out of this phase, the boss will get stunned and take a bunch of extra damage.
Are we gonna lust the first damage phase?
No, the second one.
Second, okay.
Yeah, because the idea is we'll use cooldowns on pull, and then we'll use them again on the second stun phase. Okay, I want to talk about these icicles real quick. So you don't get a debuff, but you just get a little blue arrow over your head, and Foji should tell you also, I think. If you get the blue arrow over your head, you have to come to the direct middle of the boss's hitbox, and you'll get turned into an ice block. These cause LOS, so like ranged and healers should like go around them so you can still hit the boss and hit the tank. And we want big AoE on these, so anyone that can do AoE damage, help us AoE these ice tombs. They have to die as quickly as possible. He wasn't doing the ice lances on this week either, but there'll be ice lances going out from all the different directions, and range is really important. If you guys don't have any stacks, you guys go and help soak the icicles. Okay, so lightning phase. So the one minor change we did to this fight is instead of bringing the big ad to the pylon on the side, I'm actually going to bring it to the direct middle of the room, and we'll start our chain from the middle. Everyone should still just like go to the spots you are assigned on the sheet, and it will work. It'll just be faster.
Yeah, that's way better. Couldn't attack it from the far spots.
Yeah, so that way like people can attack the ad, and also it's the lightning will just get to the sides faster.
I like how we just have a boomkin just soaking damage for no reason.
Yeah, so if you're a fill, if you don't have like a spot to fill in the line, like if you think your line is good, just like stand off to the side. That way you don't take extra damage. But if you do see a spot to fill, like if you think there's like too much gap between these two guys, like go right in between them and make sure you fill that gap.
Would it not be preferable that we just have him go in and just like just in case, because if we fuck up, it's gonna be like really bad.
You only need 4 people to get from the middle to the edge, and we already have 5 people assigned. So like we already have like an extra person. The fills are just like extra in case someone dies or something.
And ideally, you don't want extra people taking damage if they don't have to.
Well,
Yeah.
healers
Like-
don't really do anything in this phase anyway. Right?
True, dude. But yeah, so we pretty much make a human chain with her body to link the lightning to the thing. It's really easy as long as you understand the assignment sheet and you can see here where you're supposed to be. And if you're number 1, that means you're directly on the world marker. So we'll have the 4 world markers down in the 4 corners. Number 1, you're on the world marker. Number 5, you're like pretty much in the middle of the room, just a little bit closer to your world marker. But that's pretty much the whole fight. It repeats after this second down phase. We lust, and we pretty much kill the boss before the next phase. Anyone have any questions on Hagara? We pretty much like 1-2 shot it every time we did it on PTR, so should be just a pretty easy boss.
I zoned out. What was the slide optimization you mentioned?
The big ad for the lightning phase, we used to bring it to like one of the pylons and start the chain from there. Instead, we're going to bring it to the middle of the room and start the chain from the middle.
I gotcha.
Okay, Ultraxium. This is an extremely simple boss, but it's also extremely tight DPS check and just extremely frustrating fight. Because if one person doesn't click their button at the right time, it's pretty much an immediate wipe for us. So we really need people to like focus up, pay attention, be awake for this fight. It's a long and like kind of boring fight in a way. So you really need to use all of your energy to like stay focused, stay awake, and be paying attention and hit your button at the wrong time. Like even if you only mess up once, if all 25 people did that, like we would be there for hours. So it's really important. Everyone needs to just hard focus. Everyone should go and keybind their button right now. Like go in game right now.
Extra action button.
You hit escape. You go to options. You go to key bindings. You type in extra, and you bind extra action button 1. Everyone should bind it, and then log out to make sure the setting saves. Like seriously, every single person should go and bind it now. So we have it. It's not a problem. We had a bunch of pulls where people were like, "Oh, I forgot to bind it," or like, "Oh, my bindings reset after."
I switched
One
characters.
thing-
Oh no, I forgot.
One thing I did is on the
forgot.
extra action button, I added target hideous amalg to function doubly as that for spine.
Ah, nice. That's smart. Okay. Again,
Oh,
this
I just
bias
tabbed
is
time.
very simple. There's 2 main mechanics that the DPS players need to know. Every 45 seconds, he'll do a cast called Hour of Twilight. If you are assigned to that Twilight team, you have to not hit your button, and you stay up and use your like defensive or immunity or whatever, and you live through it. If you're not on the Twilight team, you have to hit your extra action button, or you hit your key binding for your extra action button to pretty much like stun yourself and make yourself immune. And that way you don't get hit. So if you look at our assignments here, it's extremely important you guys know which team you're on. They might have changed a little bit from PTR. We like moved around some people and we did some stuff. So it's really important you know what team you're on. When it's your team to go, you stay up, use your defensive or whatever you need to do. When it's not your team, you have to click the button.
The thing we were worried about was Shifter being able to live this, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna try Shifter. If it doesn't work, he'll swap to his mage. But we think the maths out that he should be able to survive it like somewhat easily.
Because Blake and Fiend can only do like 1, right? Or 2.
Yeah, so Vera's gonna go on the first one, Blake's gonna go on the second one.
Right. And then Fiend just has to fill.
And Bakker's gonna go on the first one, and Fiend's gonna go on the second one.
Okay.
And then Shifter's gonna go on the first one, he'll have like Rally, and then on the second one we'll have Jordy paints up him, ideally. And on the second one, when you bubble Blake, you'll sack Soling.
Yeah.
Were you going first or second? before?
Second mostly.
Okay, good.
But I did both.
Okay, the second main mechanic that you have to know is there's random duration debuffs that go on everyone, very similar to Major Domo, the seeds that explode. So you can see over here on the left, there's a list. On the current Fuji, there's not a list like this, but you don't really need to see it. But pretty much every single person, when their debuff timer gets low, you have to hit the button again, same keybind, same button to make yourself stunned, immune, so you do not die to this. If you don't click your button when your debuff runs out, you just instantly die. Nothing saves you. Cauterize doesn't work. Bubbles don't work. Nothing. So it's very important that you have some way to either like super pay attention to your debuff. I know some people were doing that. They like weren't using Fuji at all. They were just like staring at their debuff list and just hitting the button when their debuff ran low. Fuji also like counts it down for you, and he has like a thing that says like
But
3, 2,
honestly,
1, click.
It's a bit overwhelming because you have 4 different voices yelling 3, 2, 1.
That's true. Yeah.
Same time.
So you have to do what works best for you. Most of our Prog people have seen this a bunch of times, so hopefully you should know. But in general, everyone will have to learn it and do it. So yeah, the two main strategies that I've seen work best are watching the debuff or just watching the Fuji timer.
And it interrupts whatever you're doing. So like you can just keep casting until you need to do it, but you don't have to like wait. It'll just stop everything that you're
For the early weeks, we'll probably want to like, especially for tomorrow, we need to min max our damage, but we don't want to risk not clicking it on time. So find a balance between that. Try min maxing it, but make sure you do not click it late.
Speaking of
I think I was
balance,
usually clicking at like 0.7.
I'm potentially switching on this fight, or
We're gonna start you on Druid, and then if you die, like if we can't keep you alive for the soaks, then we'll have you swap you. But we think looking at the numbers, we should be able to keep you alive.
And we're good on the Boomkin buff if he's not there, right?
Yeah. Is that fine, Shifter?
Basically, Shifter, you live at 100% if we play correctly. If we fuck up, you die. You don't live it just by yourself.
so I just have to park fire skin every time, right? That's my only
That's all you
requirement?
can do.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
If you die, it's because somebody else missed the cooldown and let you
But
die.
if it's like too much of a strain on other people, we'll just send you mage. We think we're good on the DPS check. We mostly just need to keep everyone alive the whole fight.
Get us to blue and we win. If you want to talk about this.
Are we transferring horse an hour before the raid comes out?
Crystals.
Yeah. Healers, this is a very big healing fight, specifically the last 1 minute of the fight, but in general, the whole thing is pretty healing intensive. It's really important, again, for tomorrow's Prog, we need to push every ounce of DPS we can get. So we're having the Disc Priest, the Resto Druids, and the Resto Shaman all help DPS at the beginning especially. On this fight and in general for the DPS check fights, it wouldn't hurt if you guys have TikToks and use them at the beginning and then switch to your healing mace after. I think it's a pretty small min max though, so if you're not comfortable with it, it's okay. But yeah, if you are, it'll help. Yeah, so there's 3 different crystals: red, green, and blue. Red buffs will generally go to the Disc Priests and Resto Druids. Green buffs will generally go to Resto Shamans and Resto Druids. And then blue buffs will go to Paladins. Corbin, do you remember what we were like having one of you guys Spirit Link for red buff and one of you guys Spirit Link for blue buff or green buff?
For green buff, you didn't need to because we both pop our Spirit Walkers to run out and get it and keep pumping the chain heals. But I was dropping my SLT for the red buff every time. And then for blue at that point, we were, both Shamans were full dedicated healing once we get green buff, so we didn't need to CD it anymore. But I'll continue to do that if that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And then Mana Tide also starts at that point, so we have it up before the big burn happens, so we can keep our healing streams up.
Yeah, so healers, pretty much the last minute of the fight is crazy healing. So at the beginning, it's mostly just the H-Pals and the Disc Priest, like DPS healing. And then as the fight gets more and more into the fight, we get more and more healing requirements. I'm not sure when like Rise or Pro Hots was switching from DPSing to healing. Do you know Pro? Right in here?
It was somewhere in the realm of like between a minute and 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So they were just like DPSing the first 1 to 2 minutes, and then
Yeah.
switching to healing.
For the shamans, we're basically just keeping healing rain down and then DPSing full rotation until we get green buff, and then we start actually casting.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Druids were, I guess, probably doing the same, just DPSing until they get their red buff and then healing.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So, I mean, the most important part is we are just clicking when we are supposed to click. We cannot have people dying to clicks just because they weren't paying attention or didn't know or didn't see it. So we have to do whatever we can to make sure we get these clicks off. Again, like I said, it's a slow, frustrating fight if we don't get it right. So we're pretty sure we'll have the DPS check, guys. We need to focus on living. That's the most important thing. Like, we got a decent amount of DPS upgrades from all these LFR items and set bonuses, etc. We just have to do the last part right. For the last part, we added Fluffy and mine 4-piece, the Vamp Blood, so that will definitely help. So Fluffy, you just have to make sure you don't Vamp Blood after like 4:30.
Sure.
And I have to make sure I don't Vamp Blood after 4:90, 4:50. Yeah, 4:50. So like you'll send yours, and then it'll lead to mine, and then back to yours. And I will try to call these healing cooldowns out. The last minute is very hectic. But pretty much Jordy is keeping us alive until we get to like this hour of Twilight break at 5:15. And then after that, we're just chaining through all of our cooldowns, double spirit linking at the end.
Just to clarify, I want Vamp unglyphed, correct?
Correct. I think Vamp Blood Glyph does have a spot for certain fights, but not for this one. Oh, the other thing is we always want a Vamp Blood for Shifters group here. I can try to do it, or do you want to do that, Fluffy? It's like one more thing to track, which is annoying, but
yeah. Which group is he? He's team 2?
yeah.
If I'm on DK, I could also do it, right?
Sure.
Are you gonna have 4-piece tank?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I can
I
put you in
think-
that group with that.
I think the way I've been doing stuff, I would normally have Vamp up at that point. So yeah, that's fine.
Should I put you in that group though?
You can.
It would be easier to track if he was in the same group.
Yep.
In theory.
Yeah. And I can try to watch it too. Like, I don't really need Vamp Blood.
I'm pretty sure I have Vamp up at that point, regardless.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, healers. Let's talk about healers for a second. Red buff increases your healing. Green buff like duplicates your healing and makes it AoE. And blue buff gives you crazy haste and crazy mana reduction. Corbin, do you want to talk about how to best use the green buff for Shaman?
Yeah, I mean, the basic principle of shamaning is always keeping like your Riptide on cooldown, but the Riptide replication doesn't do a lot. You're really getting the most mileage out of your chain heal. So
are you just healing raining and just chain heal?
Yeah,
That's it?
you basically healing rain, and you want to keep Riptide on one person, that's in like a good central spot, like usually just on yourself or the tank. As long as you keep Riptide on one to maximize your 4-piece 391 Firelands to like buff your chain heal, that initial bounce heal with the Riptide replicating is the most HPS you can crank out, and then just keeping your healing rain up.
It's also worth noting for any healers with the mace. it pretty much works exactly like Light of Dawn, from what I know, which means it'll hit anyone that's directly on top of you, and then it'll do a cone in front of you. So if anything, you want to be a tiny smidge behind everyone. But as long as you're like directly on top of everyone, I think it should hit everyone.
You will hear like a flame shock proc, and you'll see like a red cloud on everyone in front of you. They got to hit with it, but it'll be hard to see in null track soon. But you'll notice it doing dungeons or whatever.
Does it work pretty much exactly like Light of Dawn for what you've seen?
It's synonymous with the Light of Dawn.
Right. Okay. Do you know like how far behind someone? Like-
So it's less about it's making sure everyone's in front of you, but it's like a conal cold, just Light of Dawn cone. It's a good for about 10 yards. I'm gonna say maybe a little more.
Hey, Krager, can you mute your mic?
And obviously, it gets way wider the farther they are from you. But as long as everyone's
Mhm.
in front of you, you're
So,
fine.
if anything, just should be like 1 inch behind them, but still stacked up for all the AoE healing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then paladins. What's crazy is even though the blue buff is a crazy mana reduction fight, you need to be pumping so many holy radiances that mana is still an issue. So I think at a certain point they start like conserving mana, so that way they have enough
Correct.
at the end to blast. So, what?
When green buff goes out, we have to rely on the R shaman. So you start roaching your mana. Just only do holy shocks, Crusader strikes, divine plea. Get your shit. You need to be at top mana when you go to get blue buff.
So at 330, you want to try to be at full mana.
Correct.
And then you just blast from 330 till the end of 6 minutes.
You don't use anything but holy radiance from
From
the blue
330 to
buff
6.
that dude died.
What about like your mana cooldowns or shit?
Yeah, I was rotating them once because there's like that weird delay before he starts cranking again. Like every time we get the hour
Hour of
twilight,
Twilight.
the second the crank starts, I would start my Divine Illum or my Avenging Growth.
Okay, that's pretty much the fight. It's again very simple, but very very tight DPS check week 1, and just in general healing check and sanity check mostly.
Personal accountability check. So,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, should get easier as we get more gear and stuff, but week 1 it is rough. Okay, we can go on to War Master unless anyone has any questions about Ultraction. It's pretty simple.
I have a general question.
Mhm.
Just in case it might have slipped your mind, is Mirror of Broken Images the arc or
Yeah.
the resist trinket ever good
It
this tier?
it is not. The Hour of Twilight is unresistible.
Okay, but like just in general throughout the rest of the raid too.
Oh, no, I don't think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not enough spots where it's like big LE damage that you need to resist. There's like some LE damage here and there, but the other trinkets are just better. Oh, it's also worth noting on that fight, Heresy for the tanks. So that like Major Domo bomb that goes out on everyone randomly, it always hits the current tank. So tank 1 will get it, and then when tank 1 gets it, tank 2 has to taunt, and then when tank 2 gets it, tank 1 has to taunt.
Moon, wasn't Mir good on Nursage for tanking? I thought it was.
Yeah, it's probably good on your Saj. Yeah,
I
you're
think that
probably
was
right.
like the only usable
Yeah,
thing, though.
you're right. It's probably good on your Saj. When he gets a yellow, you just hit that.
Yeah, I just remember you talking about it back then.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. But I wasn't using it, and I was still mostly fine tank damage wise. So
Yeah.
I just saw it in my bag and just wanted to make sure that it was on your mind is all.
yeah, if you want to use it for your Saj, it would be good there.
Cool.
Okay, War Master Blackhorn. So phase 1 is an ad control fight and a positioning fight, and then phase 2 is like a burn and dodge shockwave. So it's really important. We're doing a strategy kind of different than a lot of the other guilds, where we are all stacking up right behind these melee mobs. These melee mobs have like a minimum range charge, so if you're right behind them, you can't get charged. And we just have a hunter and an off tank out here near. Actually, we moved it. They're gonna be like over here near Star, near these like ropes and stuff. So these guys will always get charged, ideally. So the DPS kill prio is always ranged for drakes and melee for dudes. Sorry, words. Yeah, so ranged, as soon as this drake dies, you should switch to the other side's drake and start casting at it from here. So even if these humans are alive, you just kill this Drake, and then you kill the other Drake. Melee, it's just too dangerous to go to the Drake because these guys have frontal cleaves, so you're just always behind these mobs and just cleaving the mobs. And be careful when they charge out, when they're on their way back in, they can cleave. So it's very important to stay away from them. Okay, so there are these big soaks. So this big purple circle, every single person in the raid, except for the two baiters, needs to come to this big soak, and we all soak it with a raid cooldown. We bring the melee dudes with us as the tanks, so that way they can't charge you still. Baiters might have to adjust their positioning so that they still get charged. So here we use Spirit Link and AMZ. We eat the big soak. It's important after we eat this big soak, we stay here. I think, what, like 90% of the time, Corbin? And we wait for the charge.
Yeah, for the most part, but like the timings evolved a lot as we got better at the fight and the Drakes were dying earlier because like the new melee drop-offs were happening much earlier. So like a lot of the times like we were waiting for charges where otherwise we wouldn't. And like also the positioning that you want to go will also depend on whether or not we can cheat and go early. Like sometimes it feels like it's better to just wait for the charge all the time because like we might as well.
Did we? I forget if we tried this or not. Did we ever try just staying here the rest of the phase?
We kind of favored one side all the time. But I don't think that there's any reason not to unless there's just like bad fire.
You mean going into last phase?
No, no. I just mean like after this big soak, we usually like wait for these guys to charge, and then we go over here to X, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you
What
could.
about instead if we just stayed here in the middle and the range just finish off the Drake and the melee just finish off the dudes?
You could, if you wanted.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
That kind of
Because like if
simpler
not,
to me.
you're running to X and then you're running back to the middle to centralize for the next big soak anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There could just be a big ass pile of fire in the middle.
I mean, the benefit, I guess, is just some extra little cleave, but like we barely get any extra cleave, right? We'll see on the next one how it goes.
Yeah.
But in general, that's the idea. So, sorry, I'm just kind of like just thinking why we didn't do this before. But in general, our strategy is we group up for this big soak. We wait for these guys to charge. Once they charge, we move over to the next Drake, and we cleave to the rest of the stuff down. With again, range focusing on the Drake always. Once we kill these things, we kind of like meet in the middle. We're looking for the next big soak, which will happen like right as the next melee guys are dropping. There's also these sappers that drop. Balker, make sure to have throwdown. And I think that's only like good stun we have, right? But they were mostly dying anyway. Oh, and Remor is chain of icing them. Yeah, H-Pals, you can stun them if you get a chance. Okay, so another big soak happened. It's really important not to like get distracted by other stuff going on. If there's ever a big soak, the entire raid needs to get here, no matter what. So this one's kind of far, and there's like fire between us, which is a little sketchy. But like boots, do whatever you need to get over here.
It's really important. Side note on that: if you soak a small one right before the big soak, don't go into it. You will die.
Yeah,
if you're
or if
not
you're
like
just
85% health or more, you're just dead.
right. If you're
So-
just low health from anything like fire or like an ad cleave D or whatever, and you're low health, don't go into the big soak. It will kill you.
Yeah.
Also,
Especially
running to the
mages
big
with
soak.
caught, don't go into it. If your
Running to
caught
the
is
big
currently
soak,
active.
Watch out for small soak. You will die to the small little edge of the small soaks running to the big soaks. That's me how I know.
Yeah, so there's small soaks going on throughout this whole fight, and we are not soaking them on purpose except for certain people, which I'll talk about after. But in general, for pretty much everyone, there's going to be little small purple circles. If you get hit by them, you pretty much get one shot and you die. So this bug soak happens. We all, boots over there, get over there, disengage, blink. We eat the big soak, and we immediately come over here because these guys just landed their charges on cooldown. So we are safe to move over here right away. Again, as soon as this Drake gets in range, I know a lot of the like mages and stuff like hitting these dudes, but we want to switch to this Drake right away as soon as we get in range of him. So cleaving, killing the Drake. There'll be a big soak happening soon. The baiters are charging, or the melee dudes are charging the baiters. Okay, big soak is happening. We all get there. Big soak. Good. We wait here. We wait for these guys to charge. We're waiting. We're waiting. Okay, they both charged. You can see like the red lines. Now we can go to X. Group up at X right behind the dudes. Kill this other Drake. And reset to the middle. New dudes are spawning. Let the tanks pick them up. Big soak. Everyone get to the big soak. Kill the sapper. We got a bad charge there. That'll happen sometimes. It's not the end of the world. We can heal through it and live through it. But the most important thing is you always want to be really close to these dudes. Because if you're close to them, they cannot charge you. So like even when you're in this big soak, you don't want to be on like the far side of it. You want to be on the close side of it next to the dudes. So they got their charges. We all go close into diamond. We've decided we actually don't like these world markers. We just want to get as close behind these dudes as possible. So we won't have world markers down here. Everyone will just scooch up close to these dreadlords because we're all on diamond like we're supposed to be, but these ads are mispositioned a little bit, which means we're in charge range for them. So we get a bad charge here. So that's why we just all want to scooch forward. Okay, another big soak. We all get there. We wait for them to charge. There's one charge. Maybe that guy just charged. I didn't see, but we say all come to X. We stack up. Ranged are all hitting the Drake. Once this last Drake dies, that pretty much starts the start of the next phase. At this point, this big dragon is going to start flying in. All ranged DPS need to start hitting it right away as soon as it's in range of us. So start absolutely putting everything into it that you can. The boss is going to land. And we're all going to be like light spread out on this side of the boat. We're looking for Twilight Flames, which is an ability the big dragon casts. And it leaves a big like purple puddle. So as soon as this big purple puddle lands, we all have to get out of it. And at the same time, the boss like usually roars around that same time. So for this transition here, we're gonna have like Balker rally, and we're gonna have Jordy barrier the tanks, just to like help make sure that we're all alive and safe. As soon as this boss starts flying in, we didn't do this very good on our PTRs, but as soon as this boss starts flying in, we want all of the ranged and melee to all come like stack up near this X and bait the shockwave. So it looks like some people are doing it here, which is good. Because the next ability we're looking for is Shockwave. So Shockwave Ink, Shockwave is off cooldown, so the boss is about to Shockwave. So here's Shockwave. It baits us a pretty good direction. So we all need to get out of the Shockwave. Who was roaring this? Was this Pro? Or Shifter? Or Rise?
I think it was Shifter there. Could be wrong.
Shifter,
It probably
do you know
changed
if-
between
It
PTRs.
was Rise. It's you can see the cooldown on the top left.
Okay. We'll have Rise be in charge of it then. So pretty much as soon as the Shockwave goes out, Rise will roar us. And we want the mobile classes to be more in the back. That way, if you need to blink or get away, you have time.
Is there any reason why we, if the puddle goes down, why we just can't be turret stacked in the like close to the boss?
You can get a second puddle. So it's as soon as the dragon starts flying towards us. As soon as the boss starts flying towards us.
So here you could get 2 instead of 1.
Yes.
Okay.
But as soon as right here, as soon as this boss starts flying, we can all come and stack up on Skull. Yes.
Okay.
There's no reason to like stay out here.
Yeah.
At this point. So we should all come and stack in on Skull. We're waiting for Shockwave, waiting for Shockwave. There's the Shockwave. We roar. We all get to the other side of the boss. You can run directly through the boss if you want, if you're close enough. or if you need to, you can go off to the left or off to the right, as long as you don't get hit by the shockwave. So everyone comes and stacks up on triangle. The tanks are taking mega big damage here, healers. The raid will take some damage from these roars, but we have time to heal them up. So I really want us to try to put a little more healing into the tanks here, as opposed to the raid. And the raid, this entire phase, you just have one thing to look at, and it's the shockwave cooldown and cast bar. As soon as he starts casting shockwave, you move over to the right and you go to circle. And ideally, we want to be the range want to be like pixel stacked on circle. And melee, we weren't doing this super well, but I want you guys to be like a little bit out to the right of circle. So that way, if it goes on you guys, the ranged have even more time to move, and you guys still have plenty of time to move because you're melee. But in general, we're all here on circle. We're sitting here watching the cast bar. We're hitting the dragon still. This dragon really, really needs to die. So we lusted, I believe. Yeah, we lusted as soon as the dragon comes down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as the dragon comes down and we get to triangle.
As soon as we get to triangle, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So as soon as we get to triangle, we lust, and all DPS is hard focusing Goriona. You can do ethical cleave to Blackhorn.
Did we set a percent, or are we all just hard cleaving?
I think it's just all ethical cleave. As long as you're doing mostly single target damage, it's fine.
So mages can impact spread, rogues can blade flurry.
Yeah, shamans can chain lightning.
And I multi-dot.
Yeah, that's ethical.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean he's. Yeah, I think it's fine. The scary part is if we get Blackhorn too low. The lower you get Blackhorn, the more damage he does to our tanks, and we had a lot of tanks deaths in this phase. So, ethical cleave is fine, but don't like single target Blackhorn for any reason, or like do any extra damage if you don't have to.
Will we be doing bop challenges for this or no?
We were gonna save this for later, no?
Oh yeah, I just meant for this fight.
Yeah,
Not
I
this
think
particular
they're a good cooldown later on.
Okay.
So another shockwave. We all move back to the left triangle. Technically, it doesn't matter if you run the wrong way. So let's say for some reason you're like a little bit on this side. If you want to go out this way and be safe from the shockwave, as long as you come to the triangle after and you pixel stack on triangle after. But from like a raid DPS, like all the DPS here, it's a very simple fight at this point. It becomes a very big like tank and healing check. Because these bosses are hitting our tanks really hard.
Yeah.
There's a debuff that goes out called Shroud. Do not immune it. Don't ice block it. Don't cloak it. Don't bubble it. It just needs to be like slowly healed off the raid, and we'll just do some raid damage and we just heal through it.
It's the Valiant and Thoralion one. You guys remember that one? Except if you immune it, it does all the damage up front instead of like pulsed over 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I just AM that shit.
So we have cooldowns assigned for these shockwaves. So this is shockwave 6 coming up. So if we go to our assignment sheet, shockwave 6, like we'll use Prohotz's Trank for this one. I was kind of bad at calling these healing cooldowns out because I was focused on the tanks living and stuff, but we should try to make sure we are calling these healing cooldowns out correctly. And obviously you have to like use your judgment if Shockwave's about to cast, like don't cast Tranquility. Like wait till we get to the next area and then Tranquility. There is a decent amount of time between these roars to top the raid. It doesn't have to be right away.
For people that weren't there on PTR also, you want to make sure you're far enough away from the boss when he does his disrupting roar, or you'll get locked out for like 10 seconds.
Yep.
So, stand away. Generally where the markers are, but on PTR the markers were a little off and people were still getting interrupted, so if you get interrupted, just take a step back and sit on your hands for 10 seconds.
I died.
Sag.
So we have some tank cooldowns planned here. For when he hits 50%. So let's see what percent is he? Does it say percent here? 32%. So yeah, pretty much anything under 50%, each devastate is going to hit really fucking hard. So we have some planned cooldowns and stuff to try to live through it. Even if one or both of the tanks die, this boss is extremely killable even from like 25%. We did it on one of our PTRs. I think on our last PTR kill, like both tanks died, and we just kind of like kited it out. He does like a lot of casting, and he just has to like come and smack people one by one. So it is very killable.
Also, the boat is very kiteable. He has to run up the stairs.
Yeah, that's true. If you could aggro, if you like boots all the way up the stairs, like let the dots tick and shit.
Yeah. See, look, like what's happening right now.
And ice blocking, like the shouts is good because once the shouts gets to like this point, like shout 11, shout 10, he will pretty much one shot you if you don't immune it. Oh, real quick, going back to the start of the fight, the little soaks. Let's talk about those real quick. So, we have the tank on the side at all points trying to help soak little soaks, but very importantly, the mages need to help soak little small swirls. You really want to make sure you time it after a charge, so that way you don't get charged out there. And you just look for a little purple circle out here. You'll blink to it, and you'll get hit by it. You'll proc caught, and then you'll go back to the raid. Can you use immunities on it, Tamal, do you know? Or anyone?
I would presume the answer is no, because I think
Yeah,
you need
I'm not
to be
100%,
able
but
to
I'm pretty
take
sure
the
if you
damage
ice
to
block it,
avoid
the
displacing
damage
into the
just hits
ship.
the ship.
Yeah, I think so too. But you're just looking for these little purple circles. You'll come and stack them.
I
Stand on
was
it.
muted.
Proc caught.
This you can block and stuff. It does work.
Oh, it does soak them?
Oh,
Okay.
dope.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, there was like a couple pulls where I soaked the last one that would have killed our ship, and I couldn't soak it if I didn't press block. So.
Okay, good to know. So yeah, you can also block it. I think generally you want to like save block for other stuff if you ever caught up, but it's good last second thing if you need it. Which kind of reminds me, all mages, you guys need to have a good cauterize weak aura, like letting you know when it's on cooldown, when it's off cooldown.
I put one in the main channel.
And when you do get cauted, like you should know that you're cauted, so you can ice block it if you're going to die to it, etc.
Also, it's really helpful, especially during early prog. Just press your mage word if you ever cauterize. It's
Yeah, or like before you
it needs
cauterize, right?
one
If you know
tick.
you're going to
Yeah,
caught.
yeah. Either way, you can do before or after. Just press mage word. It helps out a lot.
Yep. Everyone needs to be hitting their buttons and prog and new raids. Like we need to be using our defensives, using our mage wards, using our shadow wards, warlocks, using our like lay on hands, like rut pallies, stuff like that. Like we have to be using all of our buttons we can to help the raid.
Respect the raid.
It's a really minor thing you can do, but like if you notice those dudes drop in water and you're surrounded by fire, you can walk in the fire that has water falling on it and it won't do damage to you.
Yeah, like when it's being doused, like it doesn't do damage. I think we probably won't plan to change the strategy here, but I think that could be good in the future. But anyway, does anyone have any questions about this fight? For any tanks, these melee dudes hit really fucking hard, and you have to like rotate all your defensive cooldowns to like live them.
That's not true here. See, you're tanky as fuck.
Dodge tanks are much better at them because they do like dodgeable attacks that hit really hard.
I did want to ask about the SLT usage during Roar. Are we trying to get into position to make sure that the tanks are getting affected by SLT as well, or just sending it on the big range pal?
Generally, no, but if I call like I need an SLT on me, then yes, type thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, generally the SLT, the barriers are for the raids. They need them to help with the roars.
Speaking of
Too
which,
crazy.
that happened a lot on PTR. If you don't use the cooldown that you're assigned to before the disrupting shout, just save it because it doesn't. It's not useful at that point, unless it's like a healing cooldown. But like when with the 10% DR from Spirit Link and all that shit, like if it's already shouted, it's too late.
Yeah, we had sometimes where like the shout would go off and then like the shaman would drop their Spirit Link after, like, I got it.
Yeah, which is useless.
And just remember, like, you have time between shouts to top the raid off.
Yep.
Okay, anyone have any questions about this fight? Or their assignments or anything like that? Assignments are big soak cooldowns, devastate cooldowns for the tanks. So the big devastate that he does is boppable. So at some point we'll call for people to bop the tanks and we'll taunt. Technically you can also bubble taunt it, but it's a little sketchier. We probably won't plan on using those, but you know, on the very last, you know, time when we're all dying, like it doesn't hurt to bubble and taunt the boss and just keep it on you for a few seconds. And Fluffy, we were talking about it. I think I'm gonna plan to use my shield wall at the very start of the phase, and then I'll have it up for the end. Okay, on to spine. Let's see. I can pull up who's VOD, I guess. Okay, Spine of Deathwing. There's gonna be a crazy fight to Prog on for the first few weeks until we get more gear. For our Prog for tomorrow, we're trying to like hard stack arcane mages. In general, mages, even later in the tier, I think the arcane will still be pretty powerful. So you guys should all learn how to just the basics of the arcane. It's not a super deep spec, but you still have to know what you're doing. You guys can talk about it in the mage channel, and there's already been a lot of discussion about it, so I won't talk about too much here. But just know that it will be super useful, and same thing for like rogues with sub spec. If you're not defaulting to sub, which most people should be by now. But the plan is you drop in, you kill the 3 tentacles. So we'll always kill the 2 on the right and then this one on the left. That's closer to us. As soon as all 3 tentacles dies, well, usually right as they're dying, this front left one will cast Fiery Grip. It's up to all ranged DPS to use direct damage abilities to break the Fire Grip. So the way you break Fire Grip is you deal, it's like 15 to 17% damage. I think we had like a 16% one or a 15% one.
We did have one, yeah. Just 20% per is the.
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
And Foji has this purple bar here in the middle of your screen, showing how much damage we have to do to it. So once this purple bar goes to the bottom, we're done. Or if it only has like a smidge left, you just use like a Fire Blast or an instant cast ability, low damage ability. The most important part about breaking these things is no dots at all, no arcane missiles, nothing like that will hit the dude multiple times. It has to be like direct damage only. So no flame shocks on it, no corruptions, no boomkin multi-dotting, stuff like that.
I will be calling for extra help. Usually I'll like say X, Y, or Z, I need help on it, but if I call your name, be ready to like help me hit it a little bit.
And Whip, we're planning on you to be Hunter for the start, but if we need extra 10 damage for whatever reason, we will ask you to swap to Mage. So
It depends on how much gear your Hunter gets.
yeah, that too. Like,
full bit.
Okay. So we break this, and you have to immediately stop damage on it when it gets low. Like, you can't over damage this thing. So once we break it, we all say everyone head to the left side of the boss. So these guys are actually doing it really badly. We don't want to be doing this. So it's really important. We learned that we all go to the side of the boss. So like more over here. Can you guys see my mouse?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, like more over here. So you're on the left side of the boss, but not in this fire. This fire does do damage to you. And then once it says left roll, or once it says, I think it says what, roll soon, roll, what was it?
It just that icon on your screen there, where it
Yeah,
says
no, I
left
was
roll.
just trying to think of the Foji.
Yeah, I don't remember. But
TTS.
just
It'll
watch
call
the bar.
direction plus roll, so it'll say left roll.
I feel like there was a different word in there.
Also
Anyway,
one. But either way, it says the direction and a roll. It doesn't matter what order.
Okay. So once it says that, then you go into the fire, and you watch the bar or the timer or whatever. As soon as it ends, you can go out. So like you'll see these dudes fly off, but they fly off like 3 seconds after you're allowed to go out. So just watch the timer. Make sure you don't leave early though. We had a bunch of people like get in too late or leave early or whatever reason, and they got flung off. We can't have that. It's a very dumb way to die on this fight. I'd rather you take the extra second of fire damage if you're gonna die to it. So, but in general, we want to avoid as much damage as we can. So if we can, let's get out of it right away.
And it's extra silly because literally, if we have 24 people, it's a wipe. Like probably.
Okay, once we get out of this fire, don't kill this thing right away. It's fine if it's low, but we want to keep it alive at least for a while until it does the next grip, and then we'll kill it.
This is a very like dynamic fight. Just listen to the calls on what we're saying to do.
Yep. So at this point, there will be an amalgamation up, and this is our main DPS target of the fight. So all DPS, including the mages, need to be DPSing this fight, this dude. Mages, you'll need to learn the groove of it and like how to manage your mana on this fight, as Arcane especially. But you need to be burning your mana and DPSing this guy. So the general rule is like you're burning your mana as much as you can because you have evocation up and available. So that way you can burn your mana. You go down to I don't know what percent, Tamal or Fiend or anyone.
Like 30, roughly.
So your goal is like you go down to 30% mana, you evocate back up, and then you're ready to attack the tendon with full mana. But this thing does need to die. Once it gets low on health, like 15%, 10%, we stop DPS on it. And we need to make sure we have 9 bloods on the ground. This will mostly be the job of the tanks to be keeping track of how many bloods we have and where they are. So DPS shouldn't have to worry about them too much. But this number next to the Amalg is very, very important. See this 1 next to it? We can only kill the Amalg once it has 9 stacks. So he's about to drag the Amalg across all of the different bloods. It goes up to 9 stacks. It's kind of behind his thing. Okay, and once that's at 9, as soon as you see it's 9, you kill this guy as fast as you can. Now, it'll usually line up that, and we do this on purpose, but it'll line up that at the same time the range need to break this thing. So get any range, you guys should like get any dots or anything on it. As soon as you see it hit 9, be ready to break this thing. Melee, as soon as it hit 9, you guys need to kill this thing as fast as you can. So ranged are breaking this guy, melee are killing this guy. It's a like very, very timed fight and like planned fight, and it has to go like this every time. If this guy like dies too late, or if this thing doesn't get broken very fast, it's very bad for the fight. So, oh, and then healers, as soon as this guy hit 9 stacks, you guys are using your healing cooldowns. It's a common misconception that like you use your healing cooldowns on this nuclear blast, but we really want to use it at 9 stacks. Ideally, they happen close together, but this 9 stacks is what we're looking for. So
Extremely
9 stacks.
SLT, yeah.
We hit our SLT, we hit our cooldowns. The ranged broke this guy, and he does a nuclear blast. Melee, you just have to get slightly out of range of it so you don't explode to the nuclear blast. It's pretty like not that big range, but just come all the way back here just in case.
8 yards.
And then he does like a 5-second animation of opening this shell, and every single person, every DPS in the raid needs to be ready to hit this tendon that's about to pop up. It's really important. You should have a burning tendon macro, and you can't just slash tar burning tendon because there's another burning tendon hiding over here under this plate, and it sometimes targets that. So instead, we do slash tar boss 2, We have a bunch of macros with it. Maybe if someone wants to, they can post their macros in raid discussion.
There's one in the mage channel. If somebody wants to pull that.
So as soon as this tendon comes up, we need to use literally every single DPS cooldown available to kill this thing, except for like lust and potions, which we're using at a specific time. We actually have it in a little chart here. This chart is not very pretty and like kind of hard to read. But we have it like burning tendon 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll say which one to use it on. So 1 minute cooldowns, you use it on every single one, 1, 2, and 3, and there's 1A and 1B because we have to attack each tendon twice. 2 to 3 minute cooldowns, we'll use them on 1A, and 5 minute cooldowns, we'll use them on 1A. So this one is 1A that we're fighting here. So every single person, 1 minute cooldown, 2 minute cooldown, 3 minute cooldown, and 5 minute cooldown, we're all sending it, all of it. And you do as much damage as possible to this tendon. And very importantly, you're using different trinkets than normal here. What the fuck is this guy doing? He's fucking spellbooking. So you should have 1 minute cooldowns or 1.5 minute cooldowns to use here. Trinkets. If you don't have those, you have to go and get one. There's some for every single class and spec. There's like Firelands, rep trinkets, stuff like that. As soon as the tendon closes down, let's see. I should also note, while this tendon, as soon as this tendon comes up, we should, in theory, have this corruption really low. If there's any DPS or dot classes, like Shifter, I don't think. Oh no, you're gonna be on a mage. I guess just the warlocks mainly, and maybe whip. If you guys can, it's really good. Like when this animation is going up for the tendon to come up, you guys dot this thing up with me. And whip, I might even ask you like, once the tendon, once this like fire grip gets to like 5 seconds left, if you could just like kill shot this corruption, whip would be helpful.
Before the grip goes out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the idea is we kill this tendon, or I kill this corruption. Usually I'm in charge of it. But I'll kill it like right before it gets this grip off. That way it doesn't grip anyone during the tendon. So I think you can even see like a hunter shooting at it here. So everyone does as much damage to the tendon as possible. Now this part is important. As soon as this tendon closes, you need to have a target hideous amalg macro. Because this guy can be really hard to find. There's lots of nameplates going on later on the fight, especially. But you need to be able to retarget this guy as soon as the tendon closes and start DPSing him right away. So you can't be like running around looking for what to hit, stuff like that. We need to constantly be going to our prior target and DPSing it as fast as we can. So we just immediately start hitting the Amalg again. The ranged break the corruption when they need to. Let's talk about AoE a little bit. Ellie Shamans and Hunters and Frost Decays do a lot of passive cleave. Which is good. We do want to passive cleave these bloods for most of the fight. And just like slowly AoE them down. And that way we have residue on the ground. So we have our 9 residue. Late in the fight, for the third tendon, like that whole phase, we really want to try to reduce the amount of AoE we're doing as much as possible. So at that point, Ellie Shamans, I think you guys should stop Chain Lightning for the Amalg. Remore, I know you can't really control it, but I don't know, you just got to do the best you can and try not to get through it.
We
and
could, as mages, use cunning for this fight. It would
That would
AoE them.
No.
I think we don't want it. In the last phase, like people were
there's
already
too
like
much
dying
with
to
the
threat and
tendon.
stuff.
I don't even think we want warlocks using cunning, to be honest. Uncontrolled cleave sounds not
Well,
good.
I mean, I'd say go get the trinket, and if we need it, we need it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have it in case we want to.
It's a very low amount of uncontrolled cleave, though.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, but if
You're also
all
going
of
to
our mages
optimize
have
your
it,
trinkets for this tendon, not the
And then
ads.
and Moon, I'm
Right,
just
but-
explosive trapping, but I'm only multi-shotting if you call for it, right?
Arcane's using
I think on the
Arcane's
first
using BPLC.
I think on the first and second plate, it's good just to like
You want me to
multi-shot a
just
bunch
rip
and
it?
like pad a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
On the third one, you should stop multi-shotting, and if you can stop explosive trapping, I don't know how much of a DPS loss that is though.
No. I mean, it's just for my own procs and to whittle them down. I can
Okay.
easily black
Yeah.
arrow the amalgam stuff.
On the third one, yeah, just stop AoEing altogether, pretty much.
Okay.
We had a lot of DPS dying to getting threat in that phase, and like the tanks are doing a lot of stuff, and it's hard to keep control of them. We will call if we need to kill them more, but in general, we'll want to like single target the ones in the front that Fluffy is holding. Yeah, so if Fluffy might call like, I need some of these bloods in the front to die, Wood, you're probably a good person to like swap to them and single target them down.
Yeah, I'll rip them.
Okay.
The thing
let's
I
get
was going to say is
transition.
that the AoE trinkets are kind of controllable because it's 10 yards within your target. Like you could just move the slimes into the amalgam when you want them killed, and they would just get blendered.
Yeah, I think in general though our AoE damage is totally good. With we have 2 Ellie Shamans and a Hunter, we should be totally good. Okay, so this is 1B. So for 1B, for example, we won't have 2 or 3 minute cooldowns or 5 minute cooldowns, but we'll have the 1 minute cooldowns and we just send them.
And pots?
No, that's for 2A.
Okay.
So we finish off this tendon, and we transition to pretty much phase 2. So as soon as phase 2 starts, we need to kill off these corruptions on the right. We kill off any corruptions except the front left one. Again, ranged, you guys will have to break this front left one when it casts. Here's the break. After the break happens, we go for a roll. So they're rolling, they'll step in, the roll's over, I'll step out. And then you can kill this corruption, and an amalgamation will spawn. We all get on the amalgamation right away. And I was saying this earlier, like melee, I like want you guys up here, like ready to hit this thing right away, even if you have to take some little fire damage. And all DPS should be like spamming their target amalg macro to hit this thing right away. Very, very important. Like our early amalgs were like really ahead, but then like these later amalgs would sometimes get behind. So it's important that we are hitting these things hard. One thing I think we could do better, by the way, healers and just like all of our rings in general, I think we can get a little bit closer to the front of the room. That way, if you guys do get threat, it's easier to grab you off it. You just have to be careful when he does the nuclear explosion to back off and make sure you're not in range of it. But I think specifically for like the healers that were like getting threat from like healing, I think if you're a little bit closer, it'll help. Okay, so break fiery grip, and we're DPSing a Malg really hard. The Malg gets low, we might say to stop DPS. It looks like they're just sending it. Yeah, they got good timing, so yeah, they're just sending it. Nuclear blast. Everyone makes sure you're not in range of that nuclear blast. But like, it's a pretty short range. Like they're pretty close to not getting hit by it. Tendon comes up. So this is 2A. So for our 2A, we're going to be using all of our 2 and 3 minute cooldowns. And the 2 and 3 minute cooldown people should use their DPS pots. If you're a 5 minute cooldown class, you should save your DPS pot for your 5 minute cooldown for 2B. But I think there's barely any 5 minutes nowadays.
It's just hunters and rets, I think. Oh, and warriors, but yeah.
But yeah, pretty much just use your DPS cooldown on either 2A or 2B with your cooldowns.
There's some very intentional AoE here, it seems, from them.
Well, they have like triple fire mage, so they're just like doing crazy like spread AoE. Oh yeah, so this is interesting. So he looks at burning 10 damage here halfway through the fight, and then Fire Mage is actually on top, which is kind of crazy.
I wonder why they're running the ret when they have the arcanes.
It might just be they have them for the whole raid. Oh, it's also for replenishment. Like we're using a Destro lock,
Right,
which is
right.
kind of awkward. To get that replenishment instead.
Yeah.
Although they have a Shadow Priest also, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand that mage damage to the tendon.
My guess is he has 4 set and he's combusting every single one.
I mean, also he could just be god rolling though, like that.
Yeah, just high
Like
RNG.
if a fire mage god rolled, they're gonna beat the arcane mage.
I don't think so.
I
He
know.
must have 4.
Ignite.
Well,
He
he
must
also
have.
has berserking, right?
No, he must have 4. He must have 4 set.
Yeah, that's my guess, and he's just combusting every single thing.
Like we're what we're 2 tendons in, so that means he got a 2 million combust on each of them.
That's disgusting. Like that's beyond disgusting. That's impossible.
That's
Well,
my
that's what I'm
point.
saying,
He's
it's like-
using the tier set.
I mean, are we running? We're running one fire mage, right?
No, we're not running an A at the moment.
Nope.
Do we want to give that a go?
It's
We're
too
just gonna go
risky.
with what we have and what we know.
That was actually. Do you remember I was talking about that moon a way back?
Yeah, when
Where I
we've
thought
talked about the
fire
idea a
mage
few
would-
times.
Yeah. I mean, with a 130 combustion.
But also, like, they're more ahead on 10 to damage than we are, so they can kind of like risk it if he gets like bad RNG or something. Another transition. It's the same thing, but we have a lot more slimes now.
Funnily
This
enough,
is-
they actually don't.
I mean, they have a lot.
That's like 15, maybe.
Less than we had, yeah.
That's like
They can
half
still
of what
see
we had.
nameplates.
They're definitely killing more.
Yeah, I mean, look at these fire mages. Like, they're spreading shit constantly. But they don't have like we'll have like Ellie shamans and hunters helping out. Anyway, this is kind of the point when we want to stop AoEing because the third tank or second tank or whatever will start kiting the ads. Fluffy will be up here in the front, and we actually do want to kill these ones so we get enough bloods, especially at the start. Where are they going? I think he was just collecting a blood in the back. So yeah, killing these ones up front with Fluffy will be pretty good, and we want to do it. So this is the spot whipped where we might have you like just like single target these down one by one.
Okay.
And then I think he notices this residue in the back, or these 2 residues, so he goes and grabs them ahead of time.
Rumor that was crazy, by the way.
But the general cadence of the fight for most of the DPS doesn't change. You're breaking the thing when you need to. You're DPSing the Amalg. When the Amalg gets slow, we'll call to stop DPS if we need to. Drag the Amalg over the thing, get the 9 bloods, kill the Amalg. This is 3A coming up. So this will be our Lust. So, Lust. Kill Tendon.
See the way they say Lee's happening? That's how they're proccing their arcane mages and counters. Just when all of these are exploding, they're refreshing encounters.
Oh yeah, Fluffy, that would be like a good job for you. During this part, is like once the tenon opens up, if you could kill a blood to proc like the burst.
Probably, yeah.
It'll also just like happen naturally with like the Ellie shamans like chain lightning and stuff.
Yep. It might actually. What are you doing at this point?
It depends. I've been charged with like killing the corruption in the back. But I could maybe take one blood with me and kill it, yeah.
They're pretty squishy.
Yeah, I could like take a low one. But either way, like 1 or 2 exploding during the tendon is good for the mages.
I'll keep it in mind.
So ideally with this lust, and I think even on our pull when we did this lust, we got it pretty low, right? Does anyone remember what we got it to?
Nope.
I don't remember the exactly, but I remember it was pretty low. It was like 40%ish. Or lower.
Yeah, it was at 41%, and then we got it to 1%.
Yeah. So with the lust, we get this to 40%, which means this next bit, we like really just need to make sure we're focusing on living. And we just like need to make sure we have like the 9 bloods up here for the Amalg. And we get the Amalg low and we finish. I almost think Tamal, if we have it like that low, like 40% or whatever, like we just need to like send this guy as soon as he gets to 9 stacks, even if like the timing of the corruption isn't great.
What do you mean? I'm not following.
Like you know how I usually like wait and time this guy to like go
You mean
right
on
at
the
what a fire
on
group?
3B?
Yeah.
You're talking about?
I'm curious how they do it here. Let's see.
No, that's bad.
So like they only have 7 residue, 8 residue, so they're like just barely getting enough. And you see they're marking skull here. Fucking he keeps swinging the camera. The skull. They're like marking like Fluffy is like marking skull to like kill these single target dudes.
So what we need to do is
And they still time it correctly. So
what the mages need to do is they need to fire ward right here, like, and then as soon as that procs, they mana shield, and then hopefully a blood will explode and it'll refresh our encounters from the mage ward plus the mana shield, and we'll have it the entire fight pretty much.
I don't agree with that, but
Why? What do you mean you don't agree with it?
because how long? What's the duration on arcane power?
15.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want it for the full duration. You'd want
You
it.
wouldn't want.
You would want it like giga stacked for the
No, but you
your
can't giga
cooldown.
stack it.
What do you mean?
What do you can't do that. If you mage ward and then mana shield when that's exploding, you will stand around for 5 seconds and then you'll get 5 seconds of your encounters instead
Yeah,
of refreshing it.
yeah, but we were just talking about doing the blood tech, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
you have to do it you have to do it that way.
he's saying you have to. He's saying you have to. Mana.
You want to mage ward here so that you have more spell power for your mana shield afterwards.
But that didn't work. Remember?
It
We
does.
tried that.
No, it gives you more spell power. So when you mana shield, you get more. Mana shield scales off of spell power.
I think you guys are saying the same thing though. You mana ward, or sorry, you mage ward this nuclear blast, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then after the nuclear blast, you mana whatever.
Yeah, you mana shield right here.
Yeah. And then we kill a blood, and then we do a lot of damage.
Yes. If you stack both, you lose like half of the duration of it because of the time in between the tendons.
Yeah, between the nuclear blast and like the animation, and then it coming up. But yeah, I think the one part we were missing on our kill is this like marking skull and making sure we have enough bloods here. Because like we like went to pull it in and then we like didn't have enough bloods.
That's not really what was happening though. Like the reason that we weren't killing this isn't because of that. We were just dead.
Well,
We
yeah,
just couldn't stay
there are a lot
alive.
of things. Like
Well.
Balker died at some point in the back, and like all of the ads started coming and killing us.
We've had a lot of deaths in this fight in general.
And then like DPS were like AoEing too much in this phase and getting aggro and dying. But yeah, I think we don't want much AoE in this phase 3 at all. Like
The
it's
thing-
amalg damage and like single targeting certain bloods, so we have certain bloods.
We've never experienced this fight with the tank CDs, right?
We had my Vamp Blood, but we'll have Balkers and Fluffies.
Were you using the output version or the?
I was using the
HP
increased health version. It does like
I think
increased health and some healing.
right. So you're not using the one that doesn't give you plus healing. You're using the half and half one.
Yeah.
When would we use fluffies then?
That's a good question. The awkward part is he's like cat
every
for
other
phase 1 and phase 2.
every other tendon. Once per tendon is possible, right?
Like I said, the awkward part is
Well-
he's cat for phase 1 and phase 2.
Uh-huh.
And you can't use it in cat. You have to go
You have
barefoot
to-
for
you have to
15
be
seconds.
yeah.
When
But
do you
when
start
he's here,
tanking Fluffy? 3
Into phase
on
2.
3? Into phase 2.
When does shit really hit the fan?
What about, can you do it like during the transitions when we're like killing those 3 corruptions, picking up the Amalgs, and then rolling?
Yeah.
That seems good.
Mm-hmm. It's 40 seconds, right?
No. It's
No,
20
that's
seconds
or
normally?
20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's
So
40
I
on
think when we break the first plate and we go into that transition, you should go bare form, like help pick up an Amalg or whatever. You can maybe even like soak some of the bloods like we were talking about.
Sure.
And then come and roll. And then like when we're rolling you can frenzied. Yeah, that makes sense. And then Balker, I think he mostly needs the shield wall for himself, to be honest. But when he does it, it'll just give us a shield wall. Does anyone have any questions about the cadence of the fight or what you need to be attacking when? Because that's the really, really important part.
Has anyone not done it?
There's a handful of people, yeah. Especially like maybe people that are gonna like watch the VOD later or whatever.
Any mages specifically, I guess?
None of our Prog mages.
Okay.
I think Agua Vendor didn't get that many pulls on his mage.
For what? For this fight?
For
Spine?
Spine?
Yeah, I mean, I have enough to know.
Yeah. In general, when you guys go to break the corruptions, how many Arcane Blasts do you cast?
For
I-
me on the corruption,
I do-
cast
I do 2.
Yeah, it's generally 2, but if you get like a big ass crit and like procs
Yeah,
up your
if I
staff,
crit, I
all of a
stop
sudden
one.
you've done like 200k damage,
Mhm.
and it's like
Right.
holy fuck, right?
And then if you need to, like maybe a Fire Blast at the end.
I usually cast one, and if I usually cast 2, but if the first one crits, I don't cast the second one.
Yeah. I also heard some people say Arcane Barrage. I think Arcane Barrage is pretty bad because of the travel time
It's got the travel, yeah.
For what?
for breaking corruptions.
The Fire Blast is just better.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you should prio Fire Blast over, but there's use for Barrage. I don't know, I was using a little bit of both.
I just think like it's kind of bad if you like send the barrage out and it's like traveling and then someone else sees it
Well,
still
yeah, of course.
has health and then they also cast it. Something.
Yeah, I was the one finishing though, so that's
Yeah,
why.
that's true. It's a little different. Yeah, and then you really just want to spend your mana and you just evocate before every single tendon. Do you have it up for every tendon?
Kind of.
It's 2-minute CDs, so no, you don't. You kind of
Oh,
have
I see.
to
Almost all of them.
figure out your own
So
rotation.
you just do it for like the A tendon every time or what?
Yeah, you blast
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Well, I just blast my
think
mana away at the very start.
I was doing it for B tendon, but
I was
that's just
doing
because
B
of
as
the way
well.
it's just the way it lands
Okay.
up.
Sounds like it could kind of be a preference thing, but
Evocate timing is also kind of why the amalg damage was kind of crap, is because the mages had to go into conserve mode and like not be able to pump the second. I guess that would be
Yes, on a Malg 1, I dump all my mana and then I evo.
and it's amalg B every time, I think, where it's like the mages
I
just
mean,
are not cranking the
not
same
every
way.
time. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do we just have like a mage
Maybe
who
we
goes
assign
conserve
people?
off the bat
Yeah.
and then dumps on the second? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Thinking
just
like that.
I
reducing
don't know
your.
if it's
It's
worth
reducing your overall damage,
assigning
though.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I
Having
think as
people
long as
sit on
people are
Evo.
pressing Evo, you're good.
Yeah, it's just really important to make use of your evos.
Yeah.
Like on cooldown, pretty much.
I also know, Moon, you mentioned the melee finish off the Amalg, but for Prog we only have 2 melee, so
Yeah, that's true. I guess whipped really make sure you finish off the Amalg too. So let the mages do the corruption, I guess, and you just help finish the Amalg.
The
It should
interesting thing
be
is,
everybody that's
No, Moon,
non-mage,
I'll do
right?
everything. Don't
So
worry.
it'd be Ellie's, it'd be Warlocks.
Yeah, I'm not sure
If-
because on some of our PTR pulls we were having them help corruption, and then on some of them we weren't. But I think with our pro com we have enough mages.
I don't think they ever helped with when I was there.
They
Could be
did at
wrong.
the time.
who helped?
All the range
Ellie's
DPS
and
at some points.
yeah, I don't remember
They
that.
helped with what the
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 breaking
fire
of the corruption.
grips.
No, not really. Like the
They-
occasional
the
time, but
the last day I think we did, but I think it might have just been because we didn't have as many mages available that day.
Yeah, there were at least 2 of the sets that we told them to do it. Anyway, yeah, I think with our pro comp, Ellie Shamans and Warlocks, you probably don't need to do that. So you guys can also just help kill the Amalgs. Ellie's Warlocks Hunters. But other than that, we've gotten the boss to 3%. I mean, not even 3% of the whole boss, 3% of the last tendon, so.
And now we're juiced with Elefar gear.
Yeah, we're juiced, we have more gear, we have more healing, we have more tankiness. We just have to do what we did on the PTR, and it will die. Anyone have any questions about Spine?
I'm curious if the Arcane Mage 4-piece is better. But
I don't
It's
think it
more-
will be. I
yeah.
think that's
Yeah,
the
I
two
think the
piece
stat
is too
loss
good.
is just too much.
Oh, I guess I don't know if it was explained there last time for Spine. Is it just like the last? Is it like 3A or 3B?
It's a 2A. We have it on here. Oh no, sorry, 3A, 3A.
3A, got it.
Okay, Madness. So Madness is a fight we didn't get to test on the PTR, so it's really, really, really important that even like after this, between like today and tomorrow's prog, I really want you guys to go and watch this VOD and like, ask questions, understand the mechanics, understand the fight, because we did not get to test it ourselves. So at the start of the fight, I think we will try to do this as much as we can anyway. Like anyone with multi-dots, start on the far right platform. We started on the second to right platform in general, but they have some multi-dodgers over here, and they just like dot up and do some damage to this guy because it's a big DPS check later. You jump platforms just by jumping off. It's super easy. Okay, we're gonna have 3 players marked for the 3 different range groups. So make sure you guys know where your marks are. Okay, so there's a lot going on, sorry. The tentacle spawns, the main tentacle, we just DPS the main guy. And then there'll be this timer here, mutated corruption spawns. And that means the big tentacle behind us will spawn. I guess I need to differentiate these things. I'll call this thing the arms, and this thing back here the tentacles. I think that's the easiest way to say it. So once the tentacle spawns, we all go to it. Melee, let's focus on these positioning right here. So you see all of the melee here, kind of like in front of the boss with the tank. We're all going to be here because one person is getting a parasite on them. The parasite person is marked skull back here. He's kind of hard to see, but he gets a parasite on him. He goes to like the normal melee spot behind the boss, and he explodes. Once that explodes, all of the melee can go over to him and focus the parasite cleave to the tentacle. All range DPS, you guys all hit the parasite. All of our DPS is all hitting parasite here. This parasite does this cast called on the Table of Corruption, and if he finishes the cast, it like explodes and does a shit ton of damage. So we want to kill him before he casts it. Okay, while he's doing that, he's doing big slams on the raid. It's just like targets a random person and does a big slam and hits people near them. That's why we're like kind of spread out. Like, the idea is like the person in the middle is where we'll put our healing reigns. And square, like the left group is like just barely on the left side of the healing rain, and triangle is just on the right side of the healing rain. So that way we're kind of benefiting from the AoE healing while still being somewhat spread out. Elementive Bolt will cast. So there'll be a bar here, Bolt casting. From what I've seen on this VOD, it's right at like 5 seconds left on this bar is when we can actually kill it. So we'll see if that holds true here. 8, 7, 6, 5. So maybe 4.5. So at 4.5 seconds, we can turn around and kill the Elementium Bolt. They even send their like warriors and melee to come and kill it. So everyone's on the Elemental Bolt. Good, it's dead. Switch back to the boss or the tentacle. Okay, next ability is Hemorrhage. He will spawn a bunch of little bloods. Don't worry about these DPS yet. The tank will pick them up. And we're just hard focusing on this tentacle still. And right around this time, the next parasite will happen. There's always 2 parasites per platform. One will be tanked where we saw, like behind the melee spot, and the next one will be tanked on the arm. So Fear XO gets the parasite. He will run to the arm, and he'll explode on the arm. At this point, we are finishing off this tentacle, and DPS, you're prepping these ads to AoE them. So, like, get your dots on them, get your debuffs on them, stuff like that. We're not killing them. See how they healed to full? We drag them over to the parasite as soon as it spawns, and now we send big AoE. They might not even kill it on this one. They might go one more time. Let's see. No, they actually killed it there. But yeah, so we are focusing tentacle. We're prepping the ads. And then we drag over here, and we AoE. Big AoE, big AoE, big AoE. And then we're also killing the parasite. So like single target classes can like target the parasite, cleave onto the ads. Kill the parasite, and now we're on the arm. Okay, so when the arm hits 70%, they kind of hit a little bit early here. On this platform and the next platform, it's fine to hit it early, but later on, you won't want to. When the arm hits 70%, he summons all these blistering tentacles here. These blistering tentacles do the craziest AoE damage to the raid that like on any boss I've ever seen, like Zana's level with like all adds up. On this platform, we have a dragon helping us like AoE the blisterings really fast, and we also have a dream extra action button that reduces our like a 50% shield wall for 6 seconds. So at 70%, we all hit our shield wall, and the dragon AoEs the blisterings. So you guys can just keep single targeting. At 40%, he'll cast it again. So this is kind of like the chill phase, like get our cooldowns back, stuff like that. You do still need to like single target the boss pretty hard though, because there's this Cataclysm cast up here. If you don't like kill the arm in that time, you wipe. Okay, we're about to hit 40%. 40% comes, blistering spawn. Everyone should hit their shield wall. He didn't hit the shield wall, but that's fine. And we finish off the tentacle. So it's all like front loaded on these platforms, like all the mechanics. So this is the Sarah platform, which is why we have this shield wall. Once we finish with that platform, Sarah dies and we won't have it anymore. We run 2 over to the left while we're running. We like, DPS and dot this thing, DPS and dot this thing. And we're watching this timer here, mutated corruption spawn for the tentacle in the back. And it's kind of rinse and repeat, but each platform gets harder because we lose a buff on each platform. So same thing, melee and tanks will go over here to like the front side. The person with a parasite will go to the back side. And parasite will spawn, explode, all the melee run to it, all ranged DPS hit it. This is going to be kind of like the exact same thing, but it's just important that everyone knows this pattern and everyone knows what we're doing. So they all single targeted the parasite, killing the tentacle. We're watching the Elementum Bolt timer. So this timer is just when it spawns. It's this casting one that we're watching. When it gets to 4.5, we switch to it. Okay, 4.5. There it is. DPS the bolt. If this bolt lands here, it's a wipe. So important to kill it. Okay, hemorrhage. Don't worry about a DPS. Tanks just picks them up. We're all finishing off single target on tentacle. Multi-darters, by the way, can multi-dot the arm behind us. As long as you don't get it below 70%. Okay, prep the ads with all of our debuffs and dots. Parasite will get brought to the arm. And big AoE with the parasite. Big AoE, big AoE, big AoE. If you don't kill these fast enough, they heal. And then single target the parasite and kill the boss. This is which platform?
Alexstrasza.
Alexstrasza. So after this platform, we won't get that dragon that helps us kill the blisterings. But for now we have it. But we have like big healing cooldowns for these blisterings. And they happen at 70% and 40%. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead. So we go over to Nozdormu's platform. Same thing with the tentacles, same thing with the parasite. Elementum Bolt, 4.5 seconds. Kill it. The bloods, same thing again. Just prep them while you finish off the single target guy. So prep them, they're gonna heal. And as soon as they heal, big AoE, big AoE, big AoE. Okay, so this is the scary fucking part. So when this boss hits 70%, we no longer have Alexstrasza to kill the blisterings for us. So that means we have to kill them. So these blistering spawn, you cannot AoE these blistering tentacles. They have to be single targeted. You can technically cleave and it'll cleave from the blisterings to the arm, but the arm damage is not super important here. We really just need single target damage on these blisterings as much as we can as fast as possible. In general, we'll have melee focus these close ones here ranged. We need you guys to target the back ones. It's just easier for melee to hit these ones that are like right in their face. We need you guys shooting these ones in the back. Single target, all DPS, even if you're bad at single targeting or bad at like switching targets, it doesn't matter. You have to sit there and cast a fireball on the blisterings. The raid will start taking more and more damage from these blisterings as the fight goes on.
Is it better to kill them one as soon as possible and move on to the next, or like just as soon as possible kill all of them?
That's a good question. Do you know, Tamal?
They all need to die. It's not like Zana's where you like want a prio one. They all need to die before the debuff's removed. So.
Okay, so like, but like is Shifter multi-dotting good? I'm guessing that's why he's asking.
I
feel like we want like burst damage, right?
Die before his dots would give value.
Yeah,
Okay.
you want to be
That's
single
why-
targeting at that
That's
point.
what I was asking.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I think you just like single target cast.
Like multi-dotting is only good when the targets
If
last
the
a long
dudes
time.
live long
and
enough, yeah.
Hopefully they don't. Well, it's actually mandatory that they don't, right?
Yeah, if you don't kill them fast, like This is like the main thing that was wiping Who for their 8 hours of wiping on this boss. So you can see the raid's health here is absolutely bananas, like literally dying. So we have big healing cooldowns and taking cooldowns for 70% and 40%.
It's curious because do some of them have different stacks of the debuff?
Yeah, I see that. 13, 18.
Why is that happening?
Maybe
I
you can resist it.
don't know. Yeah, it could be.
So
What's the debuff's name?
I'm not sure. We can maybe look at our normal log.
it's 70 and 40, right?
70 and 40, yep.
And that's how much time is going to be in between those?
I think I wrote it down. No, I didn't write down between 70 and 40, sorry. I wrote it between like the 70%
Is
of
there a
Ystera
chance
and the
we wanna,
70% of
split
Alexstrasza.
do we want to like split the mage combust? Is that like?
I don't think you can combust them.
Oh fuck. Okay.
You're talking about the blisterings?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
there's
do
single
like
target.
any spreading or any AoEing.
Yeah, so you can cleave from the blistering onto the boss, but it's only a one-way street, and it only hits the boss. You can't cleave like blistering to blistering.
Is it
Are we
blistering
gonna have
heat?
like ones that we're preferred to hit?
It's kind of hard. Maybe we'll have to make some kind of assignments like that.
Ranged at the high ones, melee at the bottom ones. And then maybe we need like a left right, but that's the gist.
Blistering heat.
Seems like it might be resistible if it's fire damage, right?
It should be. I saw him aiming in the VOD, right?
Yeah, we do aim it. But
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was just the damage or the stacks.
The stacks don't do anything. They just increase damage taken.
Yeah, so you can't full resist the damage. Yeah, but in the VOD, Tamal, they have different number of stacks. We were trying to figure out why.
Oh.
Maybe they
Yeah,
resist
I don't
it.
know.
Poor Crunk, he's getting owned with 20.
Fiend, you might have random like mage armor bullshit on this fight that you might have to worry about.
Well, it should give me more fire res than you guys.
Well, I'm saying the stacks like stacking up similar to like Billrock.
Hmm.
It might have
That
like a similar
it
interaction.
doesn't generally happen unless it's a beam.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying it's something to keep in mind when we get there.
Yeah, I might have to change to molten armor if that's the case.
Yeah, just something to
In
keep
that-
in mind.
But
yeah.
So in addition to like our healing CDs, you guys have to be using defensives. Like, look at how much damage they're taking and just dying. And the damage doesn't go away. It just gets worse and worse until we kill this arm.
Wait,
like
doesn't go away?
No, it just keeps fucking us.
But we lose the debuff that makes it do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it does get better a little bit.
So it gets a little bit better, but it's still fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's definitely at its
But-
worst when the debuffs are up.
So when it gets at 70.
So yeah,
you
we
go back?
front load our CDs, like we use them immediately as it hits 70.
Yeah. So I guess the goal is kind of to like be below 10 stacks by the time this dies, or we're probably just dead.
So like they send their AM here.
We don't have tank
They send their
CDs.
spirit link here.
Oh no, okay, so
We
the
don't-
stacks do fall off in between. Okay.
I was just planning to vamp blood every single one.
Yeah, but there's also a feral.
Yeah, we'll have to see which one
Maybe.
we want him on.
So it ramps
Well,
based on the time
maybe?
left on his cataclysm cast?
Maybe, but maybe not.
No. It ramps based on his health percent.
Okay.
So this entire phase from 100 to 0, he starts doing more and more raid damage.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, actually, like, could see the extra vamp bloods helping a lot here. Fluffy.
That's what I was.
Especially unglyphed vamp blood, or sorry, glyphed vamp blood.
That's kind of the thing with the feral. Like it sounds like it's a really amazing cooldown, but it's actually not. Like, what if it was half of the cooldown with half of the effect, it would be like 10 times better.
Well, actually, he might be able to get like. So these are the really dangerous ones. This Osdormo and Caligos one.
Mm-hmm.
Farrell's better on this fight.
Yeah, actually, he can get like the start of both of these.
It's 20-second duration, and it's more healing received, also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah,
on this.
actually,
it's Blood
think
Decay is
it's
dog
better.
shit for this. No offense.
Double barrier.
Well,
let's
no,
go.
but you can stack the vamp with the frenzied, right? But you can't stack frenzieds and you can't stack vamps. So
Right.
one and one is better than two of each.
Yep.
Yeah.
So is the frenzy? Does that almost act like a tranquility?
It'll act as a huge. Nah, you don't use
No.
it for the healing. You just use it for the healing increased. How much percentage is it?
30. It's 30%
So
healing
would we
increase,
use it in
15% max health.
conjunction with when we trank?
But it's half of that, right? So
Yeah.
it'd be 15%
No.
for us.
It's 15% max health, 30% healing increase or increase.
Yeah, but I'm
his
talking
isn't
about on
half.
the raid.
His isn't
Oh,
half.
it is really?
Mine is. Yeah.
Wait,
The
that's
healing is
insane.
not
What
halved.
the fuck?
The health is halved. The healing is not halved.
That's
The
pretty
thing
good.
is, with these stupid maces, these LFR maces, that makes such a big difference because
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The stacked healing is going to be
the
crazy.
stacked healing is way more powerful.
And the bear
Yep.
force set and tank force set, DK force set is going to help here a lot too.
Yeah, that's a good point, really quick. That's probably like the single most impactful item to get from dungeons, and we should try to like make sure everybody in Prague, but also in our splits has that.
Yeah,
like we
I think
should
most
be
people
like
know, but yeah, we'll double check, I guess.
solo queue right
Wait.
now if you need to for that dungeon.
Anyway,
What
so you
item
get through
is it?
that.
What are we
This is
talking about?
platform 4.
There's a healing mace that's really OP.
Oh.
Okay. But yeah, so like that part of the fight is just crazy healing requirement, cooldown requirement.
Well, isn't this one too? Isn't it the same shit?
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
Now
Yes.
you have to have another cooldown for the bolt,
So
right?
for this one, as soon as this tentacle comes up for this one, we're gonna lust. Because we don't have that slow time field. So the Elementium Bolt is gonna land this time, and when it lands, it does a shit ton of damage. So we want to make sure this guy is hopefully dead before the bolt lands. If it's like at like 5%, that's mostly fine too. But
What? How much time? Can you go back to when they jump to the 4th platform? How much time does they have for the bolt?
I have it timed here. Actually, I don't have the bolt here. I put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I was just wondering because if it was at 41, is it a minute? Like you get there and it's a minute on the platform before it happens?
Oh,
55.
the bolt 54.
Okay. That's not that long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the tentacle isn't even spawned yet either.
I know.
We're only gonna have what 40 seconds.
Yeah. Fuck.
So this tentacle in the back spawns. We lust, and we need to burn this tentacle fast. I think they don't make it on. I don't know if it was this pull or the last one,
So
but
is this going to be all cooldowns, or do we need to hold them for the blisterings? And are we just?
I think
holding
it's
lust
all DPS cooldowns here.
Everything
With the lust. Yeah.
The problem is that you
Cooldowns
have
don't
to.
help on the blisterings that much.
Well, it's the raid damage.
Yeah, healing cooldowns. Yes. Here's talking about DPS cooldowns. So it's really important that everyone has DPS cooldowns up for this part. I mean, it's kind of hard to time it because we don't know what our timing is going to be, but their timing was 9-minute 43 for the bolt.
So they don't make it. Let's see how much damage they take. What cooldown did they pop?
Double SLT and a barrier.
Yeah.
SLT and AMC on the
And
melee.
the tank's out of it? That's terrifying.
Yeah, the tank can live.
They're just they're kind of just kitchen sinking, right? That
Yeah.
the
Yeah, so
cooldowns aren't that well thought out because AMZ and Spirit won't counter each other, and
Well, it's not AMZ. It's barrier. Oh no,
no,
wait.
it's
The
on a
melee
melee,
did
get a
AMZ.
AMZ and a Spirit Link over there, and then the range get a
Oh.
barrier Spirit Link. They're supposed to rally, but I don't know if I see it.
Maybe they're out of range of the melee. Maybe
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So, it's really important these healing cooldowns go out though, like on time. So let's see when we need to time it. So Elemental Bolt 3 seconds, 2, 1, and then Elemental Bolt starts casting. 3 seconds left. So like 3 seconds left, we need to group up. Use cooldowns.
They have their parasite going out right now too, apparently.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But the tentacle's dead, or it's about to be.
Yeah, it's at like 2%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we have a Resto Shaman assigned to melee. Let me check. Yeah,
I'm
Rise.
not on there at all.
Who's that?
Flat.
Put him on X.
Yeah, but I'm kind of worried we're missing someone, or if we have an extra person here. I don't know. We'll look after. So yeah, Rise and Tide will. I know I actually have Corbane. Let's see. We might have to move one of these here, I guess. And then as soon as this bolt lands, we all have to turn and kill it still.
What does it do? Does it just blow up again, or?
Yeah, it's just like does like AoE damage from it.
A lot of raid damage.
Hey, look, more raid damage.
Mm-hmm. Good thing we have those healing maces.
Fuck, bro.
So prep the ads, parasite spawning. They're gonna heal up, I
And
think.
so this is all of this is going to be just like Ultraxion, where everyone needs to
Yep,
be
they healed
in
up. Big
front
AoE,
of the
big AoE, big
healers,
AoE.
right?
Yeah, in general, you want to be like stacked up.
directionally,
Yeah.
because of the mace. Yeah.
Kill the corruption and then kill the arm. And again, 70%. We're gonna start taking a shit ton of damage. And kill these blisterings, kill blisterings, 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 blisterings. So like literally no one should target the boss until every single one of these blisterings is dead. Even if it only has like 5% health, like switch to it and fire blast it. Like these things are so fucking important to kill as fast as we can. No,
Oh.
it'll just cleave the boss. No, you can't do that either.
You can't. You
have to. Can't do that.
You have to specific target
I think what you should do, 8block, is turn off Blade Flurry and single target the blisterings.
I mean, no, you can leave Blade Flurry on. But you're cleaving from the blistering onto boss.
It's a bit of a single target loss, right?
It's not enough. Yeah,
Okay.
I would leave it on personally.
Well, so I guess my question is like, how tight are we gonna be on the Cataclysm check? Like, are we gonna take a second after these die while the damage is lighter and he's at a higher percent, and just kind of like fucking is there any time where we would just literally like hold for like 20 seconds because this isn't that tight?
Like hold right before like 40%, let's say.
Yeah, for like 5 seconds or something. I don't know. Like there's
We
48
could,
seconds left.
depending on our raid cooldowns, that could be a call that's made. Yeah.
Okay.
But you're not gonna.
Because like, look how fast it dies, right? Like, I mean, then again, that's their DPS. But...
Yeah.
So this is the 40%. We're taking huge damage still. The rate is just melting.
So like, I feel like they didn't even recover from 70 yet.
Yeah.
After we push 40,
But the longer you
it's
stay in the
all-out
face, the more
erase.
damage it does too, right?
I thought you said it was percent.
It's percent based, man. Not
All right.
time
Okay.
based. Yeah.
See, look, so like they're ahead by what, like 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10. Yeah, they're ahead by like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's kind of close, but you might have a few times to like catch up a sec. Okay,
Literally, yeah, literally like 5 seconds. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
like,
and you're not gonna be able to like if it's at like sub 5%, you're not stopping damage there. Just to clarify, you have to finish it or
No, he was
healers
just
are
talking about like
Yeah,
recover
you
from the 70% before you push more.
it's kind of hard to do that because you don't know exactly what your damage is gonna be.
I know, I know.
Yeah,
But
but
then
I
from
mean, if we're
here-
like really close to a cooldown, we could potentially. But yeah, probably just full speed ahead.
Okay, so this last phase, we go back to where we started, which is the Ysera platform. These tentacles will spawn. Foji has a really good weak aura for this, where it'll be like shrapnel on you. And if you ever see that, you have to click your shield wall. We get all of our abilities back, so we get shield wall back. So as soon as you see shrapnel on you, you just hit your shield wall ability, and everyone needs to turn around and kill these ads. Get back on the boss. This is like a very big ad phase, and it's just like hit the DPS in between the ads. Okay,
And is there
two
a
big
rate-
guys will spawn. We switch to them, and then at the same time, all of these little oozes will spawn, and we just AoE the fuck out of all of these. If they get to the boss, they heal him. These are slowable, so they use frost traps, whipped.
Yeah, is there? Oh, I see it now. Berserk 215. Is that an auto wiper?
Not sure. They don't hit
Probably.
it on this bull anyway. I didn't find any wipes where they hit it.
Okay.
But I didn't really like scrub through every single wipe.
It's not close though.
These big ads hit really hard, Fluffy, so we have to make sure we use our big cooldowns. We're not taking anything else in this phase except these guys, so.
Yep.
Do tanks
And
get shrapnel?
You just pick up one and I pick up one. I'm not sure. But you can just use your dream shield wall for it.
Well, that's what I was asking. If you could use your dream for tanking the ads instead of using it for shrapnel, but I don't know.
I'll probably just mark mine with a skull, Fluffy, and you grab the other one. Okay, more little oozes spawn, turn around, AoE them. I'm trying to think what other AoE slows we have that are good besides the frost trap.
I mean,
How's
you'll have blast
how's
waves and
Earthbind
cone of
these
colds
days?
probably if needed.
Yeah.
Earthbind's pretty mid compared to Frost Trap, but I can put it down if they get out of it, obviously.
Time to message Soling.
Okay, fragments again. Kill fragments. These ones you can AoE, right? It's just
Yeah,
they
you
spawn in
can.
like a random pattern, so.
It's really good for Ellie's. It's hard for like mages, but
And I'd also say like if you're a strong single target class and not a strong AoE class, like try to get the ones that are away from the clumps. So like obviously everyone's gonna want to sit here and AoE this clump of 4. We need people that are gonna kill these 3 single target. Like
so Apoc, you see that left one? That's yours. Enjoy your island. Oh, that's right. Your combat. Never mind.
Ice? Change of ice?
I don't know. What is frost trap nowadays?
50, I think.
Yeah, it's not that high, but you know it's effective.
Yeah, could. I mean, you're not gonna be doing good AoE damage to them anyway, right?
Is Fiend slow still really high? The arcane one?
Well, that's single target though. We need AoE.
Well, no, I was thinking about the stragglers. Like,
You can't weapon swap your throne
I don't
weapon,
think there's
can you?
really stragglers on these things that much.
Yeah, that was my point. I told you we should have given Apoc a crystallized firestone.
Well, he can buy one. Run some H++.
Yeah, go buy one.
Just did 60 frags.
So yeah, make sure, you know, AoE classes, obviously it's good to AoE these things, but single target classes, we need you guys to kill these ones. But from what I saw from their wipes, they didn't actually die that many times in this last phase. Like, it seemed like once they got here cleanly, like, it wasn't bad.
The hardest part of the fight is platform 3 and 4.
Yes, yes.
Especially 4.
Bloods, AoE them. They kind of make a weird call where they, like, start killing these things, and then I think they call, like, never mind, just hit the boss.
Why would they make that call?
I don't know. Kill the boss, dude.
The boss is on fucking 10 million HP.
Yeah.
What
It's like people don't.
Bad okay.
He died at 1%.
Yeah.
Good to know. I think also the priest like life grips the bear out. Like the bear is like tanking the bear.
Oh, what is that time zone thing that they're in right now?
It makes these ads not
They
hit as
attack
hard.
slower? Oh.
Yep.
Do they still hit hard or do they hit slower?
They I don't remember. It's one of the two.
Do less damage. Got it.
Yeah. We'll probably just kill those things and then get back on the boss.
So what's that damage? Damage to Deathwing was.
Yeah,
the
so he
top
kind of
was-
goes through a few of these. We'll see if I can pause it. So here's damage done to Deathwing. This is just the last phase. And then
It's some fire mages. Hey, Mike Therodon's in there.
this is a wing tentacle. So there's two wing tentacles and two arm tentacles, but they do the exact same thing.
So the mages are behind on those.
Arm tentacle.
I guess this is when Combust lines up and when it doesn't, right?
Yeah, probably.
Is that Chanimal?
Yeah, this trans stream. This is regenerative blood. That's which phase? That's the like platform phase bloods.
Hey, we had Krunk's in there. Krunk War, yeah. It's
Hmm.
him for sure.
Okay. And then mutated corruption tentacle. This is just the big tentacle in the back.
The rogue's top on it?
I think it's because the rogue doesn't swap off to kill the elementium bolt. The warriors like charged out, but the rogue just stayed on the boss.
Yeah, they're really bad at target swapping, so that kind of makes sense.
Probably Dead Rock just stayed on the boss too. What is that at the bottom? Congealing blood. This is the last phase bloods. Mages go bird.
Seems like Fire Mage.
Yeah. Surprised the hunter's not higher.
What is that? Elementium bolt? Question mark?
Looks like it.
Nah, there's no way that Unholy DKs are that high on it, I don't think. Maybe it's the blistering tentacle? Why would they be high on that one, actually?
Maybe Pestilence works.
Let me see if I can try to figure out what he's on.
Congealing Blood.
This is Elementium Terror. That makes sense. This is Corrupting Parasite. Okay. Elementium... Yeah, it has to be Elementium Bolt. Huh.
Oh, and it would probably be helpful if when those shrapnel
no,
guys are up.
no, sorry, it's Elementium Fragment. It's the guys that do the shrapnel at the end. That makes more
So
sense.
they're
Yeah, they're like, yeah, that makes sense.
They just have dots on them.
Sorry, what did you say, Tamal?
When those shrapnel guys are up, if there are terrors up, if we get like an extra set and they line up like that, it would be helpful for you to like drag them around, all of them, for like combusting off of or whatever.
I don't think you get those ads at the same time, though, right?
Well, they had another minute left, so you might get an overlap. I'm not 100% sure. With
I'm
our
kind of
damage.
confused as if this is an AoE fight or not, like an AoE trinket fight.
I don't think so. I think it's a single target fight, and you just have to have just enough AoE DPS.
I think it's kind of one or the other. It's a coin flip. AoE is very good on this fight. The more AoE you have, the more single target people can do. So.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
The best single target is a good AoE.
But it kind of feels like the mages cover the AoE enough.
I mean, you're going to be using Cunning as your single target trinket anyways, right? So.
Nope. Hellfire Cunning's too weak.
Oh,
I think only the Warlocks do that.
Unlucky. Shadow Priest probably does too, right? But yeah.
Oh, look at this sick loot. They got
I
Ratharak,
lose.
Blade of the Unmaker, another Ratharak.
I lose 500 DPS single target. Kamal from VPLC to Cunning.
Who's getting this 416 TikTok?
It looks like Chan volunteered. I mean, he equipped it.
He's trying
I
it
mean,
on right now,
I'll
dude.
vendor it.
I don't know. It seems like a Rise and Bloom item to me.
Seems like a healer item in general, yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the bosses. Like I said, if you guys don't understand any of these madness mechanics, we didn't get to test on PTR, so make sure you know them. I think we did a fairly thorough watch of it and like analysis of it, but if you guys maybe point anything out that I didn't see, it's good. We have all of our assignments, all of our cooldowns. Yeah. We should add the tank cooldowns here, but I think we're just like both going on all of them type thing. So.
You definitely want it for the 40% one.
I think I'll go the early one, and then Fluffy goes the later one, since it's stronger.
I think we also have. We might have some more loot to do, right? Like, because we didn't. We don't know what mage is getting what.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about that, like, we're gonna hearth out after, or before Ultraxian, and before Spine. So, I mean, people can just, like, go and buy their enchants. I don't think it's as important as some of our other races that, like, everyone needs to know exactly
The
what
problem
they
is
need to do.
it takes time for me to give it out.
Yeah, that's true.
I think there's enough trash in this instance where it's fine. You just
So,
put
isn't-
somebody on follow so you
really?
don't get zapped.
It's just nice to know where the items go, so that because no one's going to pay attention to them during the run.
Yeah. But I think the hard part is, like, let's say shoulders drop, like mage shoulders. It's kind of hard to like prio any one mage over the other, right? So we just like round robin it pretty much.
It is in the randomizer.
Unless we want to do the thing where we just stack all the gear on the one mage and send them.
I think mage is
I
too
think it's
RNG to do that.
That sounds honestly not half bad if we're thinking about potentially having one mage go fire for spine. You just stack that mage with all the gear, right?
I don't think we're doing that.
Yeah, at least
Yeah,
not currently planned.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not.
I'm just talking about like for all the like single target DPS checks and stuff. Like the guy that's getting PI and arcane, whatever, focus magic. But you can't really give it all to one person, right? Like, let's say, you know, offset shoulders drops. They get it. They can't use any other offset items, right? Because they have to wear 4-piece.
Right.
But I guess, like, you know, bracers, neck, ring, all that kind of stuff.
I've never tried taking off taking off my 4-piece and putting on all off pieces, but that's probably a big waste of them. Like gloves of liquid smoke and shit should be fire mages.
Yeah, I think that's a waste.
Well, gloves of the liquid smoker after. That's madness loot. But
What?
Are they not?
We're running triple.
No, from the spine of death one.
Mattis.
Apoc, if you want to try to upload that ASAP, and that way we can just
I
link
could
it for people.
swear liquid smoke is madness.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I could swear it's not.